Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, American Comics. The Girl Next Door is Spider-Gwen. Chapter 61. So many years. Walter didn't say a word about this matter, but he was found by cobweb horse trails and came to his door. Melinda didn't give Walter much time to recall. I gave him a sedative and let him fall asleep. A team member next to her praised her. As expected of an Iron Cavalry, the actions are neat and tidy. Melinda lifted Walter up and handed him over. Thanks to Barton holding the enemy in front, let's go. Whoosh! Green's mechanical scorpion tail swept across, and the sharp tail thorns made a loud noise piercing the air. Melinda's pupils shrank, and she raised her foot and kicked her companion. Under reaction force, both dodged the attack, and Scorpion Tail cut a ditch in the alley wall. Super criminal, Scorpion. Melinda saw the attacker clearly, and the shield information in her memory allowed her to quickly recognize who it was. No more nonsense. She immediately pulled out the pistol strapped to her thigh combat uniform, and fired continuously at the scorpion. Boom, 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 boom. Several other members of the action team also reacted, took up weapons and focused fire on the scorpion. Go away. Hand over the man. Gargan's scorpion mechanical scorpion combat suit is not afraid of guns, and he reaches out to grab the unconscious Walter. He is Jin Bing's backup, just in case. Now it seems that it came in handy. The fight for Walter was in full swing. Here, Yi Li is also in full swing at Walter's house. I want to borrow some money, need a lot. Felicia still mustered up the courage to speak out. She gave the most precious thing to Li. Even if he disagrees with borrowing money, he probably won't be angry. After feeling Yi Li's warmth, Felicia now feels that even if it's about borrowing money, it's not as important as the relationship with Li. Yi Li kissed the corners of her moist eyes, and whispered in a magnetic voice, "How much do you need, Felicia?" Felicia blinked and said charmingly, "It may be as much as, to fill my desire." "No problem, here you." Yi Li sent the money over. A lot. Feel the number of calls from Yi Li. Felicia was so excited that her snow-white insteps were stretched. Her scattered silver hair was trembling, she seemed to be excited by his generosity. Looking at the happy and satisfied appearance of the person in his arms, Yi Li let out a laugh, and stroked her silver thread pitifully. "You are too easy to satisfy, Felicia, this is only a small part of my golden curry." Felicia thanked dazedly, "This is already a lot for me. Li, thank you. No matter how cold or seductive the daily life is, it is beautiful." After all, he was just an ignorant high school student. How could he get such a large amount of money? She was dazzled by such a large amount. She didn't think about anything, she just wanted to lean warmly in Yi Li's arms. Police station. That's right, Walter the civet, is the father of your classmate Felicia Hardy, Jessica. Director George explained the situation to Jesse and the others who rushed over. "I heard from those FBI people that he was abducted by the super criminal Scorpion. The FBI people are chasing him, so don't join in the fun." It turns out that something like this happened at Felicia's house. Cindy, who came with me, heard the whole story clearly, and stomped her feet angrily. "Really? Don't tell me, do you treat me as a friend? We can figure out a way together, and I will help her." Jessica patted her shoulder lightly and comforted her. "She probably doesn't want you to worry about her. I can understand your feelings, just like me and Gwen." FBI. Gwen is more concerned about this. How does the FBI manage this kind of thing? Is it a new department? Chief George spread his hands. "Who knows, maybe, but I'm sure their documents are real." "Really?" Gwen's spider telepathy got a bit stronger after entangled with Cindy, and I always felt that Dad was being fooled. "Gwen, your father was cheated." At this time, Sky's communication came from Gwen's battle suit, confirming her guess. I checked. "Sky, those in the black suits are S.H.I.E.L.D. people, and they are also the ones who hunted the civet." Gwen asked curiously. "S.H.I.E.L.D.? The one you and Lee mentioned. What do they do?" Sky recalled. "What is their full name? Homeland Strategic Defense Attack and, oops, I can't remember." She concealed her embarrassment. "But this is not important, they don't seem to be the opponents of Scorpion. I think you should hurry over there." Gwen, "Where are they?" Sky, "This is the location." She sent a piece of roadside surveillance. After Gwen confirmed the location, she shared it with Jessica. Jessica, stop talking, let's go there quickly. Oh, that's good. Jessica flew up and said goodbye to George. Uncle George, let's go first. Hey, Jessica, what are you doing? George looked at Jessica, who was going away, and shouted angrily, you girl, ignore my words. See if I tell you, big brother. It's not that he cares too much. Because Jessica has a good relationship with Gwen and is the adopted sister of neighbor Yi Li, George treats her almost like another daughter. Ghost Spider Club. Phew, I'm done checking here. Sky works the computer. Real-time follow-up surveillance video. On the screen is the super criminal Scorpion, who is escaping with the civet cat, and the SHIELD agent chasing him. Gwen and the others' new combat uniforms are highly intelligent, and must have hacked abilities, which saves a lot of effort for her as a support staff. It only needs to be connected and guided, and Gwen and the others' combat uniforms can automatically obtain the video. False logistics. Daisy Johnson. Real logistics. Tony Stark. Eat ice cream. Thank you. A wood-flavored cone was handed to the front from behind, and Sky subconsciously took it. Then, this voice. She quickly covered the notebook in front of her. Turning to look behind. Sure enough, she is a blonde beauty. Barbara, Sky asked, when did you come? This is someone from SHIELD. Wouldn't it be great if she saw that she was spying on the SHIELD agent? I just came. Barbara blinked her blue eyes similar to Gwen's. What are you doing? Nothing. Sky calmed down, surfing the internet. Thank you for the ice cream. You're welcome. Can I ask you something? Barbara, pull up a chair to sit next to Sky. About Yi Li. About Li. Sky thought she wanted to inquire about the club, the identity of the ghost spider, etc., but she didn't expect to inquire about Yi Li. Isn't Li a common man? What's there to inquire about? Although in his palm, blue's thin electric current can emerge, and gold slime, golden light curse, Sky became a gold slime. But there is no fighting power. Magic at best and some erotica. So Li is still common. Sky thinks so. I heard that you are his little assistant. Barbara inquired, do you know what he likes? Yi Li is not Barbara's main mission target, but she is more interested in this person. Maybe because she was seen through before, she became competitive. She must expose Yi Li's true face. I like it. Sky felt that there was nothing he couldn't say, so he said, what can he like? Isn't it just being lazy and playing around every day? Barbara took a small notebook and wrote down, how about specifics? For example, what are your hobbies? Specifically, hobbies. Sky tilted his head and thought for a while. Like painting. It should be considered, although he spends a lot of time painting, but he likes to draw beautiful women. Quote. Draw beauties. Barbara thought, it's a nice hobby. It's just a drawing for him, there is no loss, and you can still take the opportunity to get close. After asking something, she hurriedly asked Sky, what else? What else? Anything else? Sky racked his brains. Then there are only some small hobbies left, such as doing a little magic trick, practicing fighting techniques and so on. Fighting technique. Barbara caught the key word. She is good at this, write it down. She then bent sideways, left the chair, and put her hands on the white tabletop in front of her. Then, do you have any more private hobbies? Barbara leaned forward to Sky, like, would he like my color today? She was wearing a loose V-neck white t-shirt. In this posture, Sky could see her open collar. Quote. You don't want to seduce Li, do you? Sky glanced at Barbara strangely. I found that these days, she is indeed getting more and more beautifully dressed. It's just that Yi Li didn't come to the club very much these days, and Barbara cast a wink at the blind man. What is seduction? I know that your relationship with him is not normal. Barbara pulled up her collar coquettishly, and lied to Sky, excellent men will always attract women, and I am attracted to him. Sky looked skeptical. I believe you, Ghost. What is this SHIELD agent trying to do? Sky thinks that Barbara can't have a good idea, so she has a bad idea too. Let's keep it private. She fooled Barbara. Li prefers oral cleaning, mouth cleaning. Yes, he often goes to a professional dental hospital for cleaning. Talking. Sky also winked at Barbara. I prefer to be clean, you know. Barbara blushed. He likes this. Beautiful nuts and national conditions, per capita old Sigi. The basic literacy of citizens, plus the fact that Sky deliberately mispronounced a certain word and made a long sound, made her understand it in seconds. Don't Director George know Gwen's identity? On the way, swinging the cobweb, Cindy floated past Jessica and Gwen, and asked strangely, why does Director George only educate Jessica? After spider telepathy entangled, Gwen confessed her identity to her. After all, if you have that special feeling, you can't hide it if you want to hide it, so why not take the initiative to tell it? Yeah, Gwen is still hiding from her father, hee. Jessica had silver streamers on the soles of her feet, and she twirled happily in the air, teasing Gwen, a good girl who dare not face the director's father, Ghost Spider. Jessica. Annoyed, Gwen shot out a small spider web from Jessica, which stuck to her mask. I will tie you up tonight, and let your big brother bully you hard. Warning, line of sight obstructed. Inside Jessica's battle suit, a mechanical female voice sounded to remind, activate the airflow sensor to assist flight, please clear the obstruction as soon as possible. This is the smart applet that comes with her battle suit, codenamed Yingqi, which runs independently and is completely separated from Stark's JARVIS. Gwen's battle suit also has a similar one, codenamed Ghost. Hey, Jessica staggered and flew a few times in the air before she stabilized her figure. Gwen, you're getting worse and worse. She peeled off the cobwebs from her face, and countered, I should be the one holding you down to make Big Brother feel better. If Yi Li was present at this time, she would definitely give them a thumbs up. What a good girl. Good girlfriend. Pity. Right now he, in another place, busy with other girls. Counseling up pointing arrow. Philosophy of life. Popularity up pointing arrow. Physiological knowledge. ... Felicia's room. The silver hair is scattered on the snow-white back, as if blending into one. The girl's smooth jade arms are around Yi Li's neck, sleeping soundly in his arms. At this time, she forgot all her troubles and sorrows. In a dream, the debt was paid off, and the father successfully commuted his sentence. She also lived a happy life with her beloved, just like a pure white fairy tale. Beep. The phone rang. Felicia, who was tired, woke up and opened a gap in her beautiful eyes tiredly. Swish. Yi Li hugged her slender body and turned sideways, reaching out to take the cell phone thrown by the pillow to answer it. Hello, oh, it's George. I learned that it was Chief George calling. Yi Li pretended to greet each other and said, are you busy with work recently? The new boys from the police station are not easy to take care of, right? George laughed and said, hee, you are only so old, so you use this old-fashioned tone. However, at your age, with such achievements, you are indeed proud of yourself. Oh, that's your sister. After he finished boasting, he changed the subject. Jessica is too self-willed when it comes to superhero. George at the desk was processing documents while making a small report on the phone. How many times have I told her, look at her, but she just doesn't listen. Yi Li is helpless. You really worked tirelessly to get Jessica back on track. He had no choice but to take out his usual routine and deal with George, saying that he would definitely educate his sister and so on. Listening to their conversation, Felicia thought, it's Director George. Li and he seemed to be very familiar. Gwen and Yi Li's relationship was not publicized, so she didn't know about their relationship. Open tortoise shell bracket. That's right, I'm rich. You can ask the director, close tortoise shell bracket. Thinking, Felicia dragged her limp body. The gooseneck was stretched out, and it poked its head behind the phone. She urgently asked softly, Director George, I know it's not good to interrupt when you and Lee are talking. But I can't wait to tell you. I'm rich now. Daddy, he should. What? He heard a weak female voice suddenly appear on the phone. George froze. This voice is Felicia, that girl. I mean, Felicia thought that George hadn't heard clearly, so she grabbed Yi Li's hand holding the phone with her small hand, and said closer. I've raised money. How much can Dad reduce his sentence? George is more concerned about another question. Felicia, why are you on Lee's side, and your voice still sounds so weak? Embarrassed to tell the truth, Felicia glanced sideways at Yi Li and found that he was smiling at her calmly, as if encouraging her to speak casually. So she lied. As such that, Chief George, didn't you ask me to find Jessica to join the band? Jessica is not at home. I found the The voice is because he wants to try my voice, whether it sounds good. That's right, George. Yi Li took up the conversation easily, with a calm and confident tone, making it hard to doubt him. I know everything. Felicia is a good girl. In order to join the band to raise money for her father, she tried her best to show me her singing voice. There is something wrong with her voice, so she can't speak loudly now. Talking. He glanced at Felicia and spoke the truth. However, I have to say that her timbre is very good and her voice is very moving. I thought, it seems that I was thinking too much. George has a lot of trust in Yi Li. After listening to it, he also felt relieved. Felicia is Gwen and the other's classmate. You really should take care of her so that she doesn't work too hard, and things about the band should take their time. Hey, that's right. When George said this, he thought of what Felicia said just now. Felicia, you said the money has been raised. Felicia blinked at Yi Li. Yi Li patted her head, and helped her reply. I borrowed her for the time being, and she will pay it back, George. You kid is so rich, such a large amount, just take it out casually. Look at how rich Yi Li is. George is also gratified for his daughter's future destination. He sighed and joked. Oh, our Gwen is going to climb a mountain. This is colloquialism. It probably means to climb high branches. At this time, it is natural to flatter. Yi Li began to praise Gwen. George, Gwen is also great, she is much more excellent than you think. Talked for a while. George listened comfortably. How is she recently? I'm too busy with work and don't have much time, so I need to trouble you to take care of it. Yi Li, don't worry, I have taken care of her studies, and her grades are still among the best. I can rest assured that. Finish chatting with Yi Li about Gwen. George turned to Felicia and informed. Felicia, an unfortunate incident. Originally, if you had raised enough money, even if your father went to prison, he should only have a few years in prison. But something unexpected happened, after telling the story of what just happened at the police station. Because he didn't know how to comfort the poor girl, George hung up the phone hastily, which is why he didn't talk about it until after talking with Yi Li. Beep. How so? Listen to the busy tone of the hung-up phone. For a moment Felicia didn't know what to do. The father is going to be taken away by the FBI. And got hijacked by super criminals. What the hell did he do? Looking at the bewildered look of the beauty in her arms, Yi Li caressed her tenderly. Felicia, don't think too much, you did your best. Well, Felicia pillowed him quietly, and knew that this matter was beyond her ability. Li, can you hold my phone for me? It's under my clothes, I want to return the money to you. Yi Li knew what was on her mind. No objection. He rummaged through the pile of scattered clothes, and finally found it under a silk-trimmed undershirt. After Felicia took over, he soon received the news that the money was returned. Is this wave a whore? Li, I heard you and Chief George say. Listening to the two chatting just now, Felicia gradually realized that the relationship between Yi Li and Gwen seemed unusual. At this time, he couldn't help asking, are you and Gwen? Yi Li said frankly, Gwen is my girlfriend. What about me? I'm also a member of the girlfriend group. I see. Felicia heard what Yi Li said, and understood what he meant. He's the man who wants to open Crystal Palace. But she does not mind. Felicia raised her head and asked expectantly, then where is she, with you? She wants to know. In comparison. Who is closer to Li? Yi Li smiled slightly, same as you. That's not. Thinking. Felicia's cheeks are glowing. Isn't it just that I have done everything? Everything has been unlocked. By the way, that's Cindy. She remembered a good girlfriend. He asked again. Then you and Cindy? Yi Li raised his eyebrows. Not yet. Open tortoise shell bracket call, close tortoise shell bracket. Open tortoise shell bracket fine. Close tortoise shell bracket. At least more than good girlfriends. Close tortoise shell bracket. Open tortoise shell bracket overtaking on a curve, close tortoise shell bracket. Felicia felt a little better for no reason. Good Cindy, sorry. Close tortoise shell bracket. I don't want to think so. Open tortoise shell bracket but I can't control it, close tortoise shell bracket. Li, you're hungry. I'm going to make you something to eat. After resting for a while, Felicia and Yi Li, who came to rest, said goodbye for a while. She found a white off-the-shoulder sweater in her closet and put it on in front of a full-length mirror. Loose knitted sweater, the hem reaches the thigh position, and the white ice and snow are very dazzling. Yi Li shook her head. Wearing only a sweater, this is trying to seduce him on purpose. He knows. Felicia was just right, she made such a gesture, trying to use this method to stop thinking about her father. Well, what can he do? I can only help her vent it. So, he also walked over. Seeing in the mirror, the expectant person approaching from behind, Felicia pursed her lips and closed her eyes. All she wants now is the feeling of forgetting everything, even if the price is that she won't be able to go to school in the past few days. After a long time, equivalent mirror, got some spots on it. Suddenly, ding, special alloy arrows pierced the outer armor and jammed the inner joints. This made the scorpion stagger and fall on the ground. Walter in his hand also fell to the side. Fax squid. Gargan cursed, got up and went to catch Walter. Bump. Hawkeye, who came to intercept him halfway, shot another arrow, which bounced his arm away. It's been a while. Melinda and other action teams also caught up and surrounded Gargan. McGargan. Melinda pointed the gun at the scorpion. You are now suspected of threatening national security. Bala. Get out of there and take off your armor. She knew that it was almost impossible for the other party to just surrender, but there was no loss in going through the process. You combined are not my opponent. Gargan grabbed Walter with disdain. It's you who should go. If you don't want to become hamburger stuffing. At this time, a tall figure fell from the sky. Silver and black battle suit. The soles of the feet are shining brightly. The exposed long hair ponytail, driven by the falling air, fluttered for a while. After Jessica landed, Gwen also took the cobweb and floated behind the scorpion. Cindy crouched on a nearby wall at a 90-degree angle. Criminal, let go of Felicia's father. The three women are like horns of each other. Gargan's retreat was blocked. Criminal, isn't he also a criminal? Gargan sneered, since you are here to save him. He held Walter up with one hand. The palm of his hand was hard, as if to crush him to death. If you don't want him to die, get out of the way. Whoosh! An arrow with a tail hammer hit Jen's arm with a clang at this moment, causing him to shake. Do it! Jessica seized the opportunity and jumped up. With the help of flight ability, he spun around in the air and kicked at the crook of Gargan's hand. Originally a Superman-like constitution, plus a little power from the battle suit on his body. The strength of this kick penetrated the outer armor, making Scorpion's entire arm numb, unable to hold Walter tightly. The female knight. Gargan was furious and raised his other hand to hit her. Hey, why do you supervillains like this color, and you still have such great strength? Jessica Chian blocked it with her hand and grabbed the armored arm as thick as her waist. At the same time, the scorpion armor Tukaujiagan was also green. Save people. Here Gwen took the opportunity to shoot the cobweb, stuck Walter, and pulled him with his arm. Cindy has been waiting for an opportunity. At the moment, her tense legs release power, and she catapults off the wall like a jumping spider. Bang! In a flash. In an instant, it appeared in the midair to the right of Gargan. The girl lifted up the red-black sneakers, her beautiful legs drew a beautiful arc, and the instep kicked his chin. Clang! After the battle started, the situation immediately turned to one side. The scorpion was attacked by 3 people, and it was almost impossible to fight back, not to mention that there was an accurate Hawkeye who shot cold arrows in the distance. And after the cooperation between Gwen and the 3 gradually got better, the word, almost, can also be removed. Oh my god, which super criminal is this who was beaten up by 3 superheroes together? Quote. The fight definitely attracted passers-by, who were soon watching and filming from a distance. Is that the female knight and the ghost spider? They seem to have changed into new battle uniforms. Who is the other Spider-Woman? She's so handsome too. Then there is another one who shoots arrows and sneak attack. Who is he? Never mind him, he looks silly. Hawkeye, are you polite? Now the people have become the beauty party. In fact, people don't care about Hawkeye, and it's not all because of appearance. Gwen and the others' fighting methods are much more pleasing to the eye than Hawkeye's sniping arrows. Nimble fighting technique, quick dodging, and quick moves from time to time. When it landed on the metal armor of the scorpion, it made a dang 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 sound, full of rhythm. Under the noise around, Gargan's scorpion battle suit, which was quickly stripped of several parts. Jia Zhen's fists were no match for the thin wrists, and he roared angrily, "You guys call yourself a superhero? Is that how you beat more and less?" The three of Gwen ignored it. They kicked each other from 3 angles. 3 strands of force were transmitted into Gargan's body, causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood and kneel on the ground. The battle is over. With Cindy joining this time, the efficiency is surprisingly fast. "Thank you for the help." Melinda asked the agents to handle the scene, then thanked the girls with a smile, "Thanks to you." Cindy stepped forward and asked, "I heard from Director George that the matter of Felicia's father has been handed over to you. How do you plan to deal with him?" "Do not worry. We just take back what is ours." Quote. Melinda felt that this was an opportunity to get in touch with these Supermans, and invited, "This is not a place to talk, why don't we talk in another place?" Jessica and Gwen exchanged glances. They knew the details of people like Melinda from Sky. "Do you want to get involved?" The two finally decided to discuss with Yi Li, the backbone, first. Yi Li is already playing crazy. In order to raise money, Wana has already gone out to find a way. There is no mother. Felicia let go completely. It doesn't matter if the neighbors hear it, as long as the mother doesn't find out. The battlefield has shifted from the bedroom to the living room, and then to the kitchen. Felicia is wrapping her kitchen scarf right now, getting ready to make dessert. She beat the egg whites for the cake with one hand. Holding a bowl of melted white chocolate in the other hand, he handed it to Yi Li. "Li, stir this one for me." "No problem." Yi Li took the mixer and helped to stir it up. The mixer made a gurgling sound. The atmosphere is sweet and homely. Afraid of uneven mixing, Yi Li even wrapped the mixer with a golden light spell. Jingguang poked out tiny tentacles from the blender, stretched into the white chocolate slurry and beat well. "Amazing." Yi Li surprised Felicia. She whispered, "This ability can still be used like this, it's amazing." "There's something even more amazing." Yi Li chuckled, and used the vibe ability again. The mixer started to vibrate slightly but quickly, making waves in the chocolate. "How did you do it? Is this what the magical fighting technique can do?" Felicia felt the tremors from the bowl to her hand, and she was dumbfounded. "Fighting technique. Just take it as it is." Seeing her cute appearance, Yi Li took a small spoon and put a spoonful of chocolate into her mouth. "Taste it, the chocolate I made for you." "Delicious." After a taste, Felicia giggled, "What a wonderful thing it is to make desserts with your loved one." When Yi Li was having fun, he suddenly received a system message. Walter Hardy has been prevented from being robbed. Felicia Hardy's relationship household task has been completed. Black Cat template loaded. Thief skills loaded. Chaoyang News Channel is open. Chaoyang News Channel. No matter the tidbits or a cosmic event, the latest live broadcast, the first time to get. Open tortoise shell bracket. What? Close tortoise shell bracket. I've been here all along. Close tortoise shell bracket. I only made dessert with Felicia. When did I do the mission? Close tortoise shell bracket. Yi Li wondered, could it be that Gwen and the others completed Felicia's relationship account and would be counted on him? That would be wonderful. Distracted, he couldn't control the movement of stirring the chocolate in his hand, and it was a little crooked. "Li, stop for a moment, it's about to be spilled." Felicia took Yi Li's hand and put the dangling bowl on the kitchen island first. However, Felicia, who has not yet become a black cat, is barely at the level of a basketball player. She is afraid that the melted chocolate paste will spill out, so she pays attention to it, but she doesn't pay attention. Stand firm. Fortunately, her good motor nerves allowed her to react quickly and hold the kitchen island with one hand, so she didn't fall down. But the melted chocolate in the bowl splashed out a lot and scattered on the ground. Returning to his senses, Yi Li supported her with his hands and said, "Are you okay? It's all my fault for being distracted." "I'm fine, it's just." Felicia looked at the chocolates on the ground with a bit of pity. "Hey, it's a pity that so much is wasted after being spilled." Because the father was arrested. Knowing that her family's financial expenses will be stretched, she has already begun to learn to be frugal. Fine. Unlike Physia, the rich and powerful Yi Li would not care about this. "If you like desserts made of white chocolate, I will bring you more in the future." "That's fine," Felicia said playfully. "Feed me chocolate desserts every day." Such high-calorie things, people will get fat. Then I like it too. Yi Li patted her belly with a smile. The little glutton has gained weight, but he is still a beautiful little glutton. Hey, liar, Felicia said softly, you can't look beautiful even if you are fat. It seems that I can't lie to you, haha. While teasing with her, Yi Li started to stir the chocolate in the bowl. As for the chocolate being mushy, that's not important. To make love desserts, the important thing is the atmosphere, as long as the two of you are happy. Like now, Felicia was immersed in this atmosphere, so happy. He completely forgot that his father was still being robbed. But Yi Li did not forget the rewards of the system, check the ability of the rewards, and feel it. After the Black Cat template integrates, his constitution has doubled again. To explain again, templates are integrated to load, and several templates are multiplied, not added. If you are too lazy to think about it, just treat it as NB. There is no other special ability, and this template can almost be ignored. There is also this stealth skill, which also belongs to the category of skills, not extraordinary ability. However, skill is something that rises proportionally with the constitution. With Yi Li's current hand speed, it can be done within seconds, making people lose all their equipment without knowing it. And this thief skill also comes with an ability to never forget, probably from Walter. As for Chaoyang News Channel, alright, this thing is for entertainment, just like a TV station, randomly broadcasting some news. Watching the news is also a small hobby of Yi Li. So he tried to open this Chaoyang channel, and the system immediately played some news to him. Yesterday news column. The acting director Harry Osborn disappeared. The board of directors began to divide up the interests of the group, and the Osborn group was in jeopardy. According to secret information, the second-generation Green Goblin is Harry Osborn, who has been arrested and imprisoned. Today's news column. Ghost Spider, Female Knight, and a mysterious Spider-Woman fought fiercely with the super-criminal Scorpion on Parker Street, and the battle was resolved within a few minutes, and the efficiency was greatly praised by netizens. The following are external links to online reviews. I see it. Ghost Spider has changed to a new battle suit. Are you more handsome? Close hollow corner bracket. The Female Knight. The Female Knight, hee, shaw. Does the new heroine have a title? We need to know more about her. Love from England. Scorpion is so happy. I also want to be kicked by the goddesses together. Close hollow corner bracket. A little lychee upstairs. Why haven't I seen Black Spider for a long time? I would rather be kicked by a black spider. Close hollow corner bracket. Bit more post. Tomorrow news column. Tony Stark will admit his identity as Iron Man at the press conference. Yi Li read it once and probably understood that yesterday news, today news, and tomorrow news correspond to past, present, and future news respectively. Although not useless, but it is also very tasteless. After all, what this thing broadcasts is random. Maybe one day, it will broadcast, what food did Grandma Lee buy today, which cover girl did Tony Stark sleep with yesterday, which planet Uncle Ton wants to swallow in the future, and so on. Beep, are you calling again? The joint communication between Jessica and Gwen came over. Yi Li could only pick it up in perfunctory, he was busy. Jessica, big brother, are we going to contact that shield? Yi Li, no, leave them alone. Gwen, the civet cat, Walter was handed over to them, should we take care of this matter? Yi Li, don't worry about it, you guys go and play. Beep, call ended. Li, Felicia also heard it, can't you really save Dad? Actually, there is no way. Yi Li changed her mind and had an idea, bewitching her, I can help you save your father. Help me, Felicia said happily. Li, are you going to ask Jessica and the others to help me save people? No, only I can help you. Yi Li smiled mysteriously, to be precise, you are the only one who did it. Felicia couldn't help being a little disappointed. Li, I just learned a little self-defense fighting technique, how could I save Dad? You know I'm Chinese, and one of my ancestors. Yi Li made a gesture to dig into his pocket, only to realize that he had no pocket now. So he took Felicia back to the bedroom and found the clothes he had thrown on the floor. Yi Li pretended to feel in his pocket, took out the enhanced version of the monkey charm, and fooled Felicia. This is a treasure handed down from my ancestors. It can give humans incredible power. The strengthening version of the monkey charm can indeed give people a powerful animal totem strengthening. However, there is a limit on the number of times. For each totem recorded, only one person can be strengthened. Unbelievable power. Felicia stretched out her palm in anticipation, and touched the ancient charm with her green fingers. Is it like the power of Jessica and the others? Yes, but there is a price. What price? Yi Li evoked a wicked smile. If you use it, I will become your master, Felicia. That is it. Felicia felt relieved, smiled easily, and said without any hesitation, I am willing, my master. She believed that even if she really became Li's slave, he would treat her well. Yi Li asked, then I'll start. Felicia nodded, without wondering if Yi Li had lied to her, and said expectantly, let's get started. Good. So, Felicia, I will give you. Yi Li releases the ability of the spell, the power of the cat totem. Guanghua began to wrap Felicia. When the brilliance dissipated, she also got a new life. Meow. The soul-stirring beauty was shown in front of Yi Li, and even he couldn't take his eyes off it. Long hair is snow white, and skin is like fat jade. The most important thing is the pair of pointed cat ears, and a white cat tail, swaying dexterously from time to time. Very impactful picture. Difficult to describe in words. Seeing this scene, the average man would probably have a heart attack from excitement. Especially the white cat ears, which occasionally vibrated and trembled slightly, each time it stimulated the nerves. Open tortoise shell bracket. It seems a bit overplayed, close tortoise shell bracket. Originally, Yi Li was interested, and thought it would be interesting to cultivate an anti-hero. He also didn't expect that after turning Felicia into a cat girl, she would be so beautiful. If there is a ranking list of beauties most attractive to men in the world, Felicia will definitely rank first now. Felicia has no idea how alluring she is at the moment. She just felt that she had been completely reborn. There is inexhaustible strength all over the body, and the soreness and fatigue caused by the previous exertion have all disappeared. I have ears on my head. It has a long tail. Feel the abnormality in the body. She touched the cat ears on her head, and scratched her restless tail behind her. Then suddenly agility jumped, and his figure jumped onto the wardrobe. Li, I really got stronger. Felicia was very excited. But the next moment, she subconsciously stuck out the tip of her tongue and licked the back of her white hand like a cat. Hey, but there are some weird things. Felicia suppressed the desire to continue licking, and moved the back of her hand away. I seem to have really turned into a cat. Appreciating it, Yi Li said sincerely, you are much cuter than a cat, Felicia. Yeah. Felicia's fluffy cat ears could subtly hear Yi Li's heavy breathing. She looked into the mirror opposite and saw her current appearance, and soon understood the reason. Meow, master is really cunning. So she jumped down and embraced Yi Li with her jade arms, make him like this. But I appreciate it. Felicia's cat-eyed ghost flickered, before I go to save my father, I must first repay the master. Yi Li readily accepted. No man can refuse this temptation. Walter Hardy has been handed over to us, and Scorpion has been captured, awaiting interrogation. Melinda reported the work to Hill, but that spider girl named Cindy, by the way, she said her name is Cobweb, she is more concerned about this matter, and has been pestering us. Hill, if Cindy Moon doesn't save someone, don't conflict with her for now. First, send Scorpion, Geoghan back for interrogation, and find out who is coveting the serum behind it. A series of footsteps sounded at this moment. Who is it? Melinda and the other Aegis agents who were in charge of the escort quickly raised their weapons and looked for figures in the dark night. Hill, Melinda, what happened to you? Melinda. Melinda didn't respond. She and several agents simply fell to the ground and passed out. Crack. The cage of the prison car where the prisoners were held was torn open by the brute force of the claws. Dad, let's go. Felicia, what are you doing? A lot has happened. Get out of here first. Quote, comma. Several days later. Yi Li opened his star eyes, stretched his body refreshed, and then opened the curtain at hand a little. In his arms, 3 small heads are arched, black hair, gold hair and silver hair are intertwined. Gwen, Jessica, and Felicia. After Felicia secretly rescued Walter, she let her father take her mother away. Because Felicia was the only one who didn't leave, there were gossip that she was abandoned by her parents. This caused netizens to sympathize with this perfect-looking girl, and many people with ulterior motives expressed their desire to take her in. However, it was Felicia herself who chose to stay with Yi Li. As for the empty shield side, it is said that, after finding out that the person who hijacked Walter was Jin Bin, that brat Nick took all his anger on him. Now Jin Bing has become a shrinking tortoise, living in a prison he built, and probably won't dare to come out for a long time. Cindy, she, has also recently opted into the club. Now on the bright side, the Ghost Spider Club already has Ghost Spider, Gwen Stacy, identity undisclosed. The Female Knight, Jessica Ye, identity exposed. Black Cat, Felicia Hardy, identity undisclosed. Cobweb, Cindy Moon, identity revealed. There are 4 superheroes, all of whom are women. Become a veritable hero organization. As a result, the club has attracted a large number of fan members, and Jessica is very happy to collect membership fees. Because of Gwen's star power, the club's fame spread from New York City to the whole beauty nuts. On the popularity list of heroines, the top few places were also occupied by them. As for the list of male heroes, Captain America has always been at the top of the list, followed by Iron Man, Black Spider, and so on. Tony kept urging him to teach some fighting techniques. Yesterday, I just attended the banquet of high-ranking people with Steven, and I happen to have nothing to do today, so I can go and have a look. Although, in fact, he is quite free every day. Plan. Yi Li clapped his hands a few times. Girls, wake up, it's time to fight criminals. From Big Brother, Master. After the 3 girls woke up, Gwen turned over deftly, the soles of her feet stuck to the ceiling, and Yi Li was very close to Chaolian. With her hair hanging down, she said with a smile, "Isn't today a rest day? Why don't you sleep in late?" Rare. Jessica's feet were wrapped in silver light, floating in midair. She also smiled lightly. "What would Big Brother have for breakfast? I'll make it for you." Felicia lightly jumped onto the closet, bent her waist backwards, opened the closet door and rummaged through it in a difficult posture. "Master, which one do you want to wear today? I'll get it for you." They are now using super abilities more and more casually. Yi Li is used to it. Fortunately, he can surrender. The weather is lovely. Yi Li, who went out, just looked up, and the sky with some cumulus clouds began to change. Soon the sky was clear and the sun was shining. Okay, it won't rain in New York today. It's too boring to drive 4 wheels all the time. Yi Li wants to change the taste this time. So he yelled into the yard. "Vinica, boom, ba ba," with a low whistling sound. An unmanned motorcycle with a dark and luxurious style and a graceful arc honked its horn and drove to Yi Li automatically. The roar of the engine issued a cheerful rhythm, as if shouting, "Ride me. Ride me. Ride me fast." Enhanced version of the rat charm attunement to wisdom. This handsome motorcycle. It is the special creation that Yi Li used the mouse charm to open up wisdom, and it is already a new form of creature. "Okay baby, I'll ride you now." Yi Li chuckled and sat up, turning the handle. "Do not wear a helmet. He does not need it." "Hey Lee." Director George managed to rest today and was watering the flowers at the door. Seeing Yi Li riding a motorcycle, he greeted Yi Li with a smile. "You bought this new motorcycle. Isn't it cheap?" Boom. Venica's engine roared loudly, as if annoyed that George was measuring her with money. Yi Li pressed the brake and comforted her. "She is very nice, but she has a little temper." George thought Yi Li was teasing him, and laughed, "Haha. Lee, you are so funny. But some boys in my bureau also like to call their beloved cars that way." Quote. "But I can only drive this old chap," he said, looking towards his yard. There was a police car that had been driving there for a while. "Without comparison, there is no harm. George, he's much more eye-catching than Veronica." Yi Li made a joke, and rode away. Wait for Yi Li to leave. Only then did George come to his senses, and cursed with a smile, "My boy, you dare to say that about me." The breeze blew across the cheeks, there was a little sea smell in the air, and the waves lapped on the shore. The sea and sky scenery became a line. Dirty. Yi Li rode Vinica at a fast speed, and soon stopped at the beach with a luxury villa, honking the horn to remind a guy that he had arrived. "Ah, It's impossible to be so fast by simply driving a motorcycle, but he can cheat with spells. Dirty. Yi Li pressed the horn a few times, then stopped honking and let Vinica call automatically. He himself lay back on the seat, took out his mobile phone and scanned the short video. Big Data thoughtfully recommended to him hot videos of beautiful women dancing, and cool video content, which goes well with the cool sea breeze. But the level of hot dancing. Yi Li's evaluation is average, not as good as Gwen and the others. Dirty. Sir, someone is visiting. After checking the information, it is confirmed that it is Mr. Yi Li, and there is your invitation record. Stark rolled over, still sound asleep, didn't hear the JARVIS announcement. Beside her was a woman with dyed blonde hair, clean and neat, wearing only a white sheet. Gentlemen, JARVIS, Mr. Oh, JARVIS. Tony was finally woken up, he rubbed his head and got up. Shouldn't rest days be spent having fun with beautiful women? Which guy came to visit me early in the morning? JARVIS. Sir, the time is 9:43. That's too early, isn't it? Even though Stark said that, since he was already awake, he still got up. Someone is visiting you. The hot girl next to him has also woken up, and now she hugged the bedsheet and smiled at Tony. I guess it must be some lady. Christina is a well-known reporter. So she knows. With the personality of Iron Man, Tony Stark, he doesn't have many real friends. The one who will come at this time is more likely to be a beauty who has an affair with him. But she was immediately slapped in the face by JARVIS. It repeated the notification again. Sir, it is Mr. Yi Li, he has your invitation authority. It's him. Oh. After Tony yawned, he ordered, JARVIS, call the door monitor. On the floor-to-ceiling windows of Yinghai's room, the picture of the door was immediately displayed, accompanied by a sound. Dirty dirt. Vinica, who stopped at the door, screamed loudly, but Yi Li on her seat had disappeared. Quote. Tony. JARVIS, don't tell me it's a motorcycle, cool though it is. Sir, just 12 seconds ago, Mr. Yi Li was invited by Ms. Pepper, and he is waiting in the living room. Ms. Pepper is entertaining him. On the glass window display screen, the screen changed. There was another scene where Yi Li and Pepper were chatting face to face, and they seemed to be quite hit together. Okay, I'll go right away. Tony walked out of the room and went to another room to get dressed. Hey, Tony. Christina, who was thrown on the spot, looked through and found that her clothes could not be found. She had to put on a shirt that Stark had thrown here over her underwear. Yi, from. Christina remembered the name. Although Yi Li is not as well known to the public as Tony Stark, but because of his hobby of drawing beautiful women, he has a lot of fame in the circle of celebrities. So she also walked out curiously. As a reporter, I don't think there is too much material. Tony still asleep. Yi Li took the coffee that Pepper handed over, and did not rush to drink it. He is like this every day. I also heard that he is a workaholic. Occasionally, Pepper sat across from him in a decent sitting posture and chatted with him. For example, last night, he met a beautiful reporter from Vanity Fair magazine, so he will wake up a little later today. Oh, then I guess he should be reluctant to get up now. Yi Li complimented politely. Ms. Pepper, I think Tony should cherish having a caring beauty like you by his side, instead of finding some random women for one-night stands. Pepper's heart was sour, and he smiled to cover up his wry smile. I'm just a housekeeper and assistant, picking up the dry cleaning for the woman Tony brought back. And then, sweep the trash out the door. Quote, open tortoise shell bracket rubbish, close tortoise shell bracket. Yi Li raised his eyebrows slightly. It seems that Pepper has a lot of resentment towards Stark and the woman he brought back. Doesn't this make Tony angry? Hello, assistant. Yi Li continued to chat. I also have a little assistant. She is very beautiful and smart, and most importantly, she has a nimble little mouth. She is very clingy. Really? Pepper didn't realize that Yi Li was secretly driving Sky's car, and she felt a little envious of this intimacy. But she didn't show it on her face. She kept smiling and said, it seems that Mr. Yi Li is also very romantic. He should be very good at pleasing women, right? Asked by Pepper. Yi Li was not embarrassed either, and asked with a smile, then did I please you? Ms. Pepper. It's not that he's interested in Pepper, it's just Common's little joke, to liven up the atmosphere of the chat. Pepper was still young at this time. Definitely, Mr. Yi, you are very generous. I don't think many women will reject you. Same goes for Pepper, just kidding. After all, Yi Li is both talented and beautiful, and she also has a good impression of him, so she doesn't mind making fun of him. Mr. Yi is very accomplished in art. Recently, Jackson Pollock has a new work. Pepper found a topic to chat with Yi Li. It's his masterpiece, Spring series. What do you think? The painting is not bad, but the price tag overflows too much, and there is little room for appreciation. I don't recommend buying it. Yi Li chatted with Pepper with a friendly face, but he was a little impatient in his heart. Open tortoise shell bracket hiss close tortoise shell bracket. Open tortoise shell bracket Tony, why don't you get off? Close tortoise shell bracket. Urging me to come here every day. I came, but I ended up playing with women there. Yi Li understood Pepper's resentment a little bit. It is really difficult to take care of Tony, the best in lifestyle. In the comics, it seems that Pepper was taken away by Tony's bodyguard, Happy, and even got married later. Mr. Yi, Pepper reminded. The coffee is getting cold. Okay, thanks for the reminder. The coffee cup was no bigger than a palm, so Yi Li drank it in one go. And at the moment, the gruff Tony finally came down. Hey, Lee, do you like drinking like this too? Tony, did the female reporter at Vanity Fair keep you coming back? Yi Li put down the coffee cup. Do you want to learn fighting technique from me, or learn some special fighting technique from her? Lee, you're like a jealous little woman now. Tony sat down on the sofa and spread his hands. She can't teach me yet. In fact, I should be teaching her. Yi Li squinted at him. When are you going to start training? I can't wait to punch you in the face. Tony. At this time, someone came over again, still calling Tony's name. Oh, Tony, I'm sorry. After discovering the three people in the living room, Christina apologized. I'm not familiar with this place. Are you talking about something important? Do you need me to avoid it? It's okay, just chatting. Tony said indifferently. You can come and sit for a while, and then leave later. I have prepared a special car for you. Yi Li looked at Christina, mainly out of curiosity to see what kind of girl Tony just slept with last night. Gold hair clipped black, not Gwen's natural hair color. It's obvious from the black roots that it's dyed hair. He was only wearing a dark red men's shirt, presumably Stark's. Seeing Yi Li staring at her, Christina made a provocative gesture on purpose and walked this way. As she walked around, the black underwear inside the shirt was clearly visible, as if she was intentionally showing her figure to the two men in the living room. The main thing is to show it to Yi Li. Christina could tell from Tony's words just now that she was going to kick her out after playing. So she took Yi Li as a new target, sat next to him, biting her fingers from time to time to act cute. Yi Li looked at Christina, who was just leaning next to her, and secretly evaluated. The figure is not bad, very attractive. At first glance, the face is okay. But take a second look. Never mind, not his style. But sit down to Christina. Yi Li didn't mind, although not up to the standard of in-depth communication. But Christina's good figure, coupled with at the moment's attractive dress, can be seductive even sitting next to her. This is the same as his brushing short videos. The looks of those hot beauties in the video are not as good as those of the little girlfriends, but it doesn't affect his enjoyment of watching. Pure appreciation. No drop in price. Tony didn't care about Christina either, and continued to chat with Yi Li. Did you come here by motorcycle? Yi Li couldn't deny it. Otherwise, could I have come here on a motorcycle? This statement amused both women, Pepper and Christina. Pepper. Mr. Yi, you are so humorous. Christina used the coffee table to cover it, and took the opportunity to quietly grab Yi Li's palm, intending to put it on her thigh. The purpose is self-evident. Yi Li stopped with her hands. Instead of following Christina's lead, she wrote a string of English letters on the skin of her thighs with the tip of her fingernails. Christina was scratched by the tip of Yi Li's nails, and her body trembled a little. This made her think at first. As expected of a romantic artist, a little trick is so exciting, much more exciting than Tony Stark. Just waiting for Yi Li to finish writing. She was secretly annoyed. Because the string of letters read, "Have you taken a shower yet?" This is obviously because she dislikes the person she just communicated with. Artist's obsession. Here Tony explains. No, I mean, He projected Vinica, who was still screaming at the door. You, an artist, come here on such a cool motorcycle, it's a bit out of character. Dirty. A loud horn blares in the living room. Hey, why is it still barking? Tony rubbed his ears. Lee, if there is something wrong with your motorcycle, I can fix it for you. Dirty dirt. Vinica's voice got shriller, as if angry. Oh, this speaker has multiple rhythms. What a boring design. Tony is still complaining. Sewage. Okay, Tony, stop judging my car. Quote. In order to prevent Tony from being traumatized and killed by Vinica when he went out, Yili shouted to the outside, Vinica, be quiet. Sewage. The horn finally died down. Voice activated. Tony didn't know that Yili saved his life again. This car has a lot of gadgets. If you like this kind of small function, I'm very interested in the transformation. Shut up, Tony. Yili pulled out an oval unknown fruit from the fruit plate on the table. Then it was stuffed into Tony 713's mouth with lightning speed, preventing him from continuing to die. Cough. Tony coughed and quickly pulled out the punglai plantain from his mouth. Hey, I don't like this, it's just a decoration. Yili's movements made him unable to react. Is this also the kind of fighting technique? Tony threw the fruit into the trash can and got excited. I can't wait to learn. After breakfast, we can start training. Seeing that Yili and Stark seemed to be almost finished chatting, Christina became a little anxious, and Stark would probably let her go after the chat. So she let go of her dark annoyance, took Yili's hand again, grabbed his fingertips and secretly wrote on the skin of her thigh, I took a shower, sir, it was very clean. Both she and Tony have definitely showered, otherwise it would have taken so long. After writing the letter, Christina pressed Yili's palm and took him to caress on her thigh. The palm didn't resist this time, which made her secretly happy. But every time she wants to go a little deeper, Yili's hand will slide out. After all, there is nothing to do with the hand, it's okay to touch it casually and forget it there. Although Christina and Tony must have taken safety measures, it still feels tasteful when you think about it. Hello, Mr. Yili, I've heard of you for a long time. I've always wanted to interview the legendary artist, but I just ran into you at Mr. Stark's house. Quote. After Yili chatted with Tony, Christina, unaware that she has been passed by Yilipus, confidently strikes up a conversation with him. I'm a reporter from Vanity Fair, Christina Ever. I want to make an appointment for a private interview. Do you have time? The interview with the famous painter Yili is a very good report material. Even if it is a prostitution, it is worth it. And if he can paint a portrait, it will last for a long time, and it can even be used as an entry ticket to the celebrity circle. Ms. Christina Eve, all of your Vanity Fair reporters do interviews like this. Yili didn't hide her eyes. She fell on Christina's cool dress. The meaning is obvious. Private interview. Girl, you should try to hide it. With your disheveled appearance, it's hard to imagine a serious interview. Come for an appointment even if you don't wear these clothes. Is it an interview or a fire bag? I guess you'll like it. Christina was not embarrassed by Yili's words. What are you pretending? Your hands are still on his legs, CBBH. She made a charming gesture and smiled. Perhaps you can consult Mr. Stark. He has a lot to say in this regard, and we just finished a pleasant interview. Heard the words. Tony on the other side of the sofa looked up and said nonchalantly, oh, yes, she did a great interview. Lee, if you are interested, I can borrow one of your interview rooms. Talking. He also lip-synthesized Yi Lee. She cleans up. That's very generous of you, Tony. Yi Lee rolled his eyes. He's here to do business, not to do it. Why does it feel like Tony has become more bohemian recently than before? Pepper couldn't stand it anymore either. He got up to get Christina's dry-cleaned clothes, and handed them to her. Madam, here are your clothes, which have been dry-cleaned and ironed. The implication is, stop raving here, and quickly put on your clothes. Oh, thank you. Christina chuckled. She took the plastic bag and opened it, then changed it dazzlingly on the sofa next to Yi Lee. Those long legs were raised high on purpose. Pepper saw a vein twitching in his forehead. Out of sight, she turned to Tony and said, I'll go prepare breakfast for you. Tony nodded. Go ahead, Pepper. You. Before Pepper left, he glanced back at Christina, who was still changing clothes. Have a good chat. If it weren't for knowing that Tony doesn't turn his back on grass, he doesn't have that special hobby. She was worried that the 2 men and 1 woman would do something absurd in the living room. How about it? After Pepper left, Christina, who was fully dressed, let go a lot, hugged Yi Li's arm, pressed her plumply and asked, "Mr. Yi, how do you think about the interview?" Yi Li also felt that the other lady had left, and some things could be said more bluntly. But he wouldn't directly say something like, "You don't meet my standards, I don't like you." That was so unmanly. So Yi Li said euphemistically, "Ms. Christine, the pronunciation of na is usually omitted. Don't you think we don't have a feeling of coupling CP sense when we sit together?" Christina, you were touching your legs just now, but you don't recognize me when you're dressed. Christine, Tony also began to see off the passengers. I've been waiting for a special car for a long time. I think you can go. We also need to be sympathetic to Mr. Driver, aren't we? Although he didn't care about Christina, but the woman who had just spent the night with another man immediately clung to another man, and was still in front of him, so naturally he felt a little uncomfortable. Christina couldn't help it, and couldn't help but curse 10 words in her heart, "They're all stinky men." But she was still not reconciled, and when she left, she handed Yi Li a small note. Wait for Christina to leave. Yi Li glanced at the phone number on the note, then tapped the electric fire with his fingertips, igniting the paper. Seeing this scene, Tony was even more surprised by Yi Li's basic skills of the golden light curse. Your fighting technique, can you turn your hands into lighters? Yi Li threw the burnt paper ashes into the ashtray, and said, "It's impossible to practice normally, Tony. It may be because of my extraordinary ability. It's not impossible for the golden light mantra to practice thunder, but he doesn't have this method, so he didn't recite it to Tony." All right. Tony glanced at the paper ashes in the ashtray, and joked, "Actually, she's really nice, don't you think about it? I am a standard oriental aesthetic, it." Yi Li clapped his hands and stood up. "Okay, let's add some nutrition for breakfast, and I will teach you a few hands today. I found out that you have bought a lot of company stocks recently." In the ring, wearing gloves, Tony punched Yi Li with a fist, and said, "You know, since I announced the closure of the weapons department, the stock has been falling. Do you believe me like that? Concentrate, Tony." Yi Li didn't bother to explain, and tied him to the ground by his feet. "This is not a boxing match, your level is far from enough, Iron Man. Hey, do you know who you are looking down on?" Quote. Tony immediately got up and attacked again. "Superhero is not as simple as you think." "Ah." Yi Li grabbed his arm and threw him back. "Superhero, don't stick to the moves, the enemy won't tell you the rules of the ring." "Oh." Tony sat on the ground, didn't get up, and pressed his waist. Okay, that's it for today, I've learned a lot." He was tortured so badly that he couldn't hold on any longer. Yi Li didn't care, jumped off the ring, and took a cup of black tea from the JARVIS mechanical arm. "Then practice more yourself." "Dude," Tony invited, "want to see my steel battle suit?" Tony wanted to regain some ground, so he took Yi Li to his basement for a walk. Yi Li saw Ethan. It seems that he is now Tony's assistant. Tony came to the battle suit, opened his arms, and looked proud. "How is it?" "How about what?" Yi Li stepped forward and knocked on the iron lump. "As far as the structure of this next generation steel battle suit is concerned, he can dismantle it with Fubo's ability." Tony put his hands down boredly. "Lee, you should give some feedback." Ethan, who was studying the module parts, laughed. "Tony, only the ladies will scream for you." "Yes." Yi Li reached out her hand approvingly. "Yi Li." Ethan smiled and shook hands. "Ethan. You are." Yi Li looked in front of Ethan, saw the silver mecha that had been dismantled. "What is this for?" He recognized this thing. It was the Iron Overlord made by Obadiah, who asked people to pirate a steel battle suit. However, Obadiah has been crushed by him before he has a chance to use it, which is quite aggrieved. "This is what Tony brought back." Ethan answered Yi Li and smiled. "He said he wanted me to use it. I don't have that ability, so I can only help him disassemble it." Tony also came over and said, "Because of this thing, I almost died, thanks to the Black Spider for saving me." Ethan Wrench removed another part. "You owe him a lot, Tony, and I owe him a lot." "Actually," Yi Li said frankly at this time, "I am the Black Spider." "Oh, Black Spider." Tony patted him on the shoulder and smiled. I said, why don't you look down on my steel battle suit, so you are his fan? Ethan also looked happy. Obviously none of them believed it. Yi Li shrugged helplessly, and didn't say anything more. You didn't believe it yourself, so don't blame me when the society dies in the future. Since you like superheroes so much, how about this thing for you? Tony pointed at the Iron Bully and said, do you want to try being a superhero? I believe that if it is you, you will be able to use it well. Let me use this Iron King. Yi Li shook his head. Forget it, you should leave it to Ethan. Don't say that this thing will freeze at high altitudes. Even if Tony makes up for this defect, he doesn't like it. All right. Seeing that Yi Li was unwilling, Tony stopped talking and said instead, so, are you interested in the fair in Flushing tonight? Historic Stark Corporation Expo. Yi Li tilted his head slightly. Oh, you want me to watch you pretend, don't you? All you women want a man of the street. All the women on the street need a man. Just keep coming and put your hand out to me. Come to me, give me your hand. Can't you turn off your music, Tony? Night, at 1800. Yi Li, who is in the special seat of the transport plane. Why transport aircraft? Just look at Tony Stark. He is now wearing a steel battle suit, standing at the hatch, ready to jump down at any time, and even playing music on the transport plane to brew his emotions. Don't just fill a cup. There are so many and some are not. Yi Li picked out his ears. The hard rock music is a bit loud. Your taste is still so average. Close it, Jarvis. The destination has arrived. Stark told Jarvis to turn off the music in the cabin, and then the hatch opened, and he was about to jump down. Yi Li reminded at the right time, be careful, don't take my motorcycle with you. That's right. Vinica was also checked in. After visiting the expo, he wasn't planning to go back to Tony's house. If Tony hadn't said that the fair was very exciting, he wouldn't be interested in watching Tony's show. Watch my show, Lee. Tony jumped down angrily. 'Cause I'm the one who's gonna make you burn. Because I am the man who can make you burn. The music was transferred to the battle suit by him again. I'm gonna take you down, 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 down. I will take you down to the abyss of happiness. The historical Stark exhibit below, launching firework into the sky, sets off the Iron Man of the falling flight. It's really coquettish to the extreme. Yi Li glanced down from the cabin window. This is prepared for, have to say, the first few seconds. Stark was indeed quite handsome. Until, boom, he was hit on the forehead by a firework. Yi Li shook her head. Jarvis, let's go down too. Okay, Mr. Yi. Chapter 71. At the opening ceremony of the Stark Expo, there was a sea of people, and countless flashlight beams shone into the sky. Stark appeared on the stage wearing a steel battle suit bag, which brought the atmosphere to a climax. People shook the flashlights in their hands vigorously. The opening dance was not bad. In the midst of the cheers, Yi Li didn't crowd the people below, and sat in the VIP seat leisurely, watching the Iron Man dance troupe's leg dance for a while. As for Tony's cupping words on stage, he didn't hear a word. Instead, in the position, open the Chaoyang News channel and watch it. Iron Man, it's boring, it's better to watch the news for a while. After the opening ceremony, the voice and smile of Tony's father, Howard Stark, began to be played on the big screen. Also in the video, a city model. Yi Li knew that there were new elements hidden in this model, but he didn't care about it for the time being. Anyway, Tony would find it himself if nothing unexpected happened. None of his business. Hi Lee, how are you feeling? Tony came over at this moment, put away what looked like a pregnancy test stick in his hand, and put it in his pocket. It is a device to detect the content of palladium in the body. I feel cheated by you. Yi Li said with a dead fish-eyed expression, it's boring. Tony opened his eyes wide, don't you think my appearance is hilarious? Hey hell, you just want me to watch you fill the cup. Yi Li stood up and clapped his hands, let's go. Tony stretched out his hand, raised his chin slightly, and gestured in a direction, together here. Yi Li squinted over there. Exit, jump, Tony. Tony, Tony, with the security door open. A lot of people rushed up. Among them are fans of Stark, beauties who want to climb high, some company bosses who want to cooperate, and so on. Soon a beige-haired beauty spotted Yi Li. Are you Mr. Yi Li? She leaned over here and asked, I didn't expect you and Mr. Stark to be friends. I don't know if there are any arrangements for these few days. I want to ask you out. I don't have time, sorry. I'm busy. Yi Li refused. But she still stuffed the business card into his pocket, then kissed him on the face, winked and said, call me if you change your mind. Is that Mr. Yi Li? Mr. Yi. Soon there will be a few more. Yi Li interspersed among the flowers indiscriminately. If he is just walking on the street, he will generally not be recognized by passers-by. But the more socialites and beauties, the more people know him. And here, there are many. Tony, start tonight. After coming out of the safe passage, Yi Li patted the crumpled clothes on his body, and then picked out a few business cards from his pockets, and threw the rest into the trash can. I know how stupid you are. Deliberately dragging him to walk this way. Really old six. Stark spread his hands innocently. I thought you'd have something to look at, didn't you have the ones you left? Hee hee. Yi Li read his business card like playing poker. Isabella, Parsons. Emily, executive of the art trading company. Olivia, handmade paintbrush studio. Okay, stop reading. Tony raised his hand in surrender. I know you're doing business by keeping these business cards. How did that sports car give you? It can be regarded as making up for your bad mood. He pointed to the new car prepared by the bodyguard. Happy, this is a brand new car, I haven't driven it yet. Yi Li glanced over there. Oh, this one is not bad. Really, it's rare to have something you fancy. Tony, it seems that the sports car prepared by Happy is really good. Yi Li motioned Tony to turn his head back. I mean her, is that your old friend? Tony turned around, only to find out. This moment of time. In front of his own sports car, for some unknown reason, stood a beauty with bright eyes in a purple dress. Looks like Irish. Oh, I don't know her. But she was really pretty. Quote. Tony didn't pay much attention to this woman, and took Yi Li towards the sports car. So do you want this sports car? I don't need it, Tony. Yi Li whistled a boom. Accompanied by the heart-pounding sound of the engine, Vinica leapt down from a high platform in the distance, and the tires hit the ground with a dull sound. Bang! There doesn't seem to be anyone in the car. Is it out of control? Pedestrians on the side of the road were frightened by the car that flew down suddenly, and quickly avoided it. However, when Vinica drove up to Yi Li, the surprised pedestrians were relieved again. People who can be around Tony Stark, have a self-driving motorcycle is nothing. Oh, the woman standing in front of Tony's car was surprised and praised Vinica. It's great. Bah, Vinica yelled happily. Thank you for the compliment. Yi Li said politely, didn't say much to the beauty with blue eyes, and said goodbye to Tony. Tony, remember not to lie to me next time. Okay. Tony sat in the driver's seat of the sports car. Mr. Yi Li, then I wish you a good night, I'm leaving first. Mr. Stark. The beauty with dark eyes chuckled and stopped him. I don't think you can leave. Oh, Tony thought it was another beautiful woman who came to talk to him, and asked, who are you? Do you want to date me? Lawrence, Kate Mara. The beauty with black eyes handed over the document in her hand, and said with a smile, I have an appointment with you to attend the Senate Armed Services Committee at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. This is your subpoena. She is still smiling. Tony's face fell, and he confirmed, can I see your police badge? Happy, the co-pilot next to him, chimed in, he likes to look at police badges. Kate Mara readily obliged, showing Tony her police badge. Do you still like to watch, Mr. Stark? Now Tony didn't have any luck, and frowned. Kate Mara ignored Tony and the others, and walked gracefully to Yi Li who was watching the show. Hi, is Mr. Yi Li? Yi Li frowned. Beauty, do you want to send me a subpoena? If I remember correctly, I've done nothing wrong, least of all crimes that warrant a court-martial. Mr. Yi. Kate Mara swayed, and sat in Yi Li's arms lightly, hugged him and said, you stole something. Yi Li tilted her head lightly, unable to comment, your heart. Hee, listen to one thing first, sir. Kate Mara leaned down with her pretty face, blew into his ear, and spoke softly. Some time ago, the Osborn group disintegrated. Someone is secretly buying a part of Osborn's research lab through the property of the Ghost Spider Club. It is said that a serum that is very similar to the Super Soldier Serum is being developed, or that's the Super Soldier Serum. Talking. Kate Mara clung to Yi Li like a lover, and said in an ambiguous tone, "You don't want to, Shield knows about this, do you?" "Aha, so." Yi Li pinched her unceremoniously, and said calmly, "Threat me." Kate Mara blushed, bit her lower lip, and said charmingly, "I just want to cooperate with you." Who? General Ross. Boom. Yi Li let go of her and turned Vinika's handle. "Let him wait and see how I feel." "Wait, there is one more thing, sir. Kate Mara is not a direct subordinate of Ross." Seeing that Yi Li still wanted to think about it, she didn't continue to talk about it. She turned to ask with charming eyes and exhaling heat, "Do you have a date tonight?" "Sit still." Yi Li calmly hugged her in front of her and straightened her up, then deliberately shouted to Tony, "Tony, don't be angry, I'll teach her a lesson for you." Finished. Without waiting for Tony to respond, he circled Kate Mara and rode away. Aha. Originally, seeing the law enforcement officer turned his head and flirting with Yi Li, Tony was very puzzled. Now listen to Yi Li say so. After he reacted, he immediately shouted back, "Hey. You are a family that values sex and despises friends." Tony paused because all he could see now was Vinika's taillights. "Happy, how far are we from Washington?" "Washington." Happy did the math and said, 250 miles. Washington, D.C. Peanuts, Central District. Korea, fresh. Iran. Is that Justin Hammer? Court-martial. Through his high-tech, Tony easily exposed the face of the military and Justin Hammer's attempt to obtain steel battle suit technology. "Iron Man is useful and we are safe." Tony Stark patted the table. "You want my product? Don't even think about it." He stood up from the hearing booth, turned around to face all the cameras, opened his hands and said, "Yeah," and said, "I've successfully privatized world peace. I alone can maintain world peace. They successfully privatized world peace, hey." Yi Li imitated what Tony Stark said in the live TV broadcast, and teased him, "Tony, this guy is really good at bragging." Leave. Gwen absorbed a small peeled fruit with her fingertips, and fed it to Yi Li. "You went to the exhibition with Mr. Stark yesterday, it was fun." "Gray and boring." Yi Li swallowed the fruit, and tasted the slender green onion by the way. He thought it would be cool to fly down with that iron bump, but he was shot in the head by firework. Don't give Tony any face. Felicia buried her pretty nose in Yi Li's neck and sniffed lightly. Her snow-white cat ears twitched suddenly. "Master. Has the smell of another woman." Jessica was playing with Felicia's tail, and asked curiously, "Who is it? Cindy or Sky?" "Not Cindy. Nor Sky." Felicia swung her tail and sniffed Yi Li carefully with the tip of her nose again. "It's a strange smell." Jessica narrowed her eyes and grabbed Yi Li's handle. "Say. Who is Big Brother? Tell the truth." This. Yi Li thought about it for a second, and directly chose to throw the blame on Tony. "Definitely squeezed by Iron Man's female fans, they are too enthusiastic." "Really? Then last night, why did you keep us waiting so long?" Thinking like a detective, Jessica wondered, "Big Brother, are you having an affair?" Cough. Yi Li almost choked on his saliva. "Jessica, don't you think this word is inappropriate for you?" "Why isn't it appropriate? Bully me every day." Jessica caught Yi Li's handle, and she won't let it go so easily. She said softly, "Do you want to use it up and refuse to accept it? Don't think that I can have such a cheap thing because I am a younger sister." "What's up with her?" Yi Li turned her head to look at Gwen on the other side. "Has Jessica watched a soap opera recently?" She, because my father keeps nagging her, she hasn't become a female knight for a while." Gwen remembered something, and it was a little funny. She lightly lifted the slender white long legs on Yi Li, past him, and stepped on the tender flesh of Jessica's thigh playfully with her little jade-like feet. "Jessica won't be free. I went to open a private detective agency again, help the employer to find out a few commissions of affairs." "Gwen, don't poke me." Jessica was exposed. Her pretty face was slightly red. She grabbed Gwen Halby's ankle in embarrassment, moved away and said, "It's sticky. No wonder it can stand on the wall." Private detective agency. Yi Li also feels that her sister is really energetic. But at night, it's normal, it's not the same as Gwen and the others. Is it because home plate is not developed? "Jessica, where is your detective agency?" Yi Li asked casually. Jessica scratched the soles of Gwen's feet with her small hands, and proudly said, "It's just outside the Linton area." Cough. Yi Li choked again. Linton area, known as Hell's Kitchen. You were really 6. Don't underestimate me, Jessica. The detective agency is just covering up, but I'm actually looking for some news. Yi Li, what do you do to find out the news? Hell's Kitchen is a mess right now after Kim locked himself in jail. What is the demon gang led by, Mr. Negative? Hammerheads. Magia gang. The tombstone that Gwen didn't find before. Jessica counted with her fingers. Recently there was one. Hand association. Using the word you said, big brother, what kind of monster Shendu popped up? Yi Li. Wait, you said the hand. Yes, what's the matter? Jessica. Should it be some kind of gang organization? I caught a ninja from their organization and asked about it. Small, and, day. Neon, locals who have a good life, ah. Yi Li's eyes flickered. Forget about others, these fellows from the Hand Association dared to jump under his nose. Gwen wrenched her feet away from Jessica's grasp. Li, what did you say? You're doing well. Nothing. Yi Li glanced at the clock and got up from the sofa. It's getting late, get dressed and go to school, I'm going out too. Wait a moment. Jessica raised her leg at this time, hooked Yi Li's leg with her smooth instep, and made a flattering gesture. Hee, big brother, do me a favor. Number 37, here it is. Yi Li found the location of her detective agency with the address given by Sister Zhang Cheap. Anyway, just in time for a visit to Hell's Kitchen. Just help her come over and have a look. Take the key to open the door and walk into the detective agency. Yi Li glanced around. Compared with the Ghost Spider Club, this place is a small place, and it's just a facade that Jessica rented temporarily. Very deserted, it looks like it could close down at any time. It is nothing special. Yi Li also pulled Jessica's decent office chair, sat down and waited. A person who claims to be a lawyer is scheduled to come to the detective agency today. I think there must be some kind of commission. But Jessica had to go to school and was not free. Originally, she wanted to ask Sky to take a look. But in the end it was handed over to Yi Li, who is very free. Since the client is a lawyer, Yi Li speculated. That should be to entrust Jessica to find some evidence of a certain case. Anyway, it's no longer a commission to catch the mistress. A lawyer is already a rare customer for Jessica's detective agency. After all, no one knows that the girl who runs this detective agency is actually a superhero, knight. Because the people living near here are all decadent and numb people who don't pay much attention to important news. And when I was in the detective agency, Jessica always wears a beret and plain glasses. The euphemistic name is to dress up in disguise. Yi Li tried the detective look. Aftertaste in mind. Oh no, think about it. At that time, I thought she was just here on a whim. Unexpectedly, I just came back from the detective agency. Open tortoise shell bracket. Let Jessica try again tonight. Close tortoise shell bracket. Tuck tuck. At this time, there was a knock on the door. Come in, Yi Li said casually. The door is not locked. Outside the door, Matt Murdock Daredevil pauses as he knocks on the door. What is a man's voice? As a street hero who has been against Jin Bin for a long time. After Kim put himself in jail, Matt sensed an opportunity. He wanted to take this opportunity to collect evidence of Jin Bin's crime and send Jin Bin to a real prison. Not that fake prison that Kim had built himself. Then, Jessica, who came here to run a detective agency, caught Murdoch's attention. He discovered the identity of Jessica's superhero. Compared to him, Daredevil, who only has a reputation in Hell's Kitchen. Female Knight, has been very popular on the internet these days. This made Matt want to come and visit. Maybe the other party can help Jin Bing's work. But what's with the man's voice now? A new assistant. But this sound, it doesn't sound like a handyman either. Daredevil is blind, but his other senses are keen. He could hear the confidence and indifference in Yi Li's tone. These thoughts flashed, just for a moment. Next moment, Matt pressed the doubt first, pushed the door and walked away. Yi Li took a eye look. Tisk, this is red tights. He came to a conclusion in an instant. Daredevil. Yi Li still has an impression of the superhero, Daredevil. Marvel superhero. There are many heroes who are miserable, always being abused by the enemy, losing a close relative at every turn. And, Daredevil, Matt Murdock is one of the best. He himself was always abused by Jinbin and his men. Previous girlfriends were also kidnapped by the enemy, Bullseye, in turn. It was normal for a girlfriend to die every 2 days, and those who didn't die went crazy and were sent to a mental hospital. In the Daredevil story, there is a heroine named Karen Page, who was originally Murdock's secretary. After she broke up with Murdock, she even became an actress in live-action movies. I don't know if it's in the sea now. It can be said. The life Yi Li wants. On Daredevil, the exact opposite manifests itself. This guy is capable of being so miserable. Good morning, sir. Yi Li crossed her legs and looked indifferent towards Murdock. Jessica has something to do. I'm her big brother, Yi Li, meeting you on her behalf. Do you have a commission? Open tortoise shell bracket. It turned out to be a big brother. It doesn't look like a biological sibling, close tortoise shell bracket. Matt shook his head at Yi Li. It's better for people in common not to know what I want to talk about. You should also know your sister's identity. He didn't want to involve the common people. But someone doesn't want my good sister to get involved with the guy in the future, the Defenders. Then you should also know. Yi Li laughed and said, Jessica is just a high school student who is still in school. Her status as a superhero affects your thinking, Daredevil. Quote. This, Yi Li's words, splashed cold water on Murdock. How could a high school student be involved? She's still just a kid. Really ignored this. It's one thing for a female knight to volunteer to preach justice. It's another thing for him to come to find someone. I want to be the big brother of this female knight, and I am very unhappy about my sister risking to be a superhero. Thinking of the big brother who is a female knight in front of him. Matt sincerely apologized to Yi Li. Sorry, it was my negligence. Just tell her that I cancel the meeting. Quote. After apologizing to Yi Li, Matt was a little ashamed of his negligence, embarrassed to stay here, turned around and left. But the next moment, he stopped suddenly. Someone is staring at this place and is approaching quickly, and there are more than one group of people. Matt pulled out his double bonus red stick and flicked a stick. It may be coming for me, Mr. Yi, you'd better hide first. With his super hearing, he can hear the sounds of several blocks nearby, so he can naturally detect special movements. Yi Li sat there without moving, frowning slightly. He was thinking about how to torture a person. Detection of Jessica Yi's enemy of fate, Purple Man, Zebdia Kilgrave. The guy in the red tights. The blonde-haired figure squatted on an abandoned floor, using a telescope with a detection lens embedded in it to observe in the direction of the detective agency. Opening square bracket. It should be the area around Hell's Kitchen, the daredevil who fights criminals. Close tortoise shell bracket. Thinking to herself, Barbara took out a fried chicken leg from the bucket at her feet and stuffed it into her mouth. When she finally caught Yi Li and there were no girls around, she thought it was an opportunity to get close, so she followed. But unexpectedly, he would come near Hell's Kitchen. Feeling that there was something hidden, she distanced herself and observed secretly here. As expected, soon, I saw the scene of Daredevil coming to the door. What is he doing with Daredevil, trying to recruit a new superhero for the club? HMPH, there may be a big problem with this. As the club grows bigger and stronger, coupled with the online popularity of several superhero members of Gwen, Nick Fury is paying more attention to Ghost Spider Club now. And Barbara's task naturally became heavier. She is responsible for investigating the Ghost Spider, contacting Jessica, investigating the Black Cat, contacting Cindy, making friends with Sky, investigating Yi Li, etc. Barbara was furious at the thought of Fury. Open tortoise shell bracket. I don't know if I need help right now, and I didn't send Natasha Romanoff here, what are I doing? She bit the chicken leg with her silver teeth, and the fragile chicken bones were all bitten off at the same time. There is also the hateful Hill, who will pretend to be in the communication all day long. If you have the ability to come to the club by yourself, those long legs, Yi Li will definitely like it. Who are these people? Barbara was thinking about how to drag Hill into the water, when she saw a group of people approaching the detective agency quickly. She stopped chewing the fried chicken legs, activated the detection lens in front of the telescope, and locked on the leader of the crowd. Not for a while. After analyzing the facial information of the detection lens, the data was retrieved from the SHIELD database. Super criminal, Purple Man, Zebudia Kilgrave, possesses hypnotic ability to control ability, can control hundreds of people in a wide range, in the crime of strong female gangsters, Chaloon girls, women and many other lines. As that the notorious perverted Purple Man, Barbara, who is also a woman, couldn't help but shudder. Although she has some resistance to mental abilities after training, she still feels afraid of the Purple Man. In a sense, this is a very dangerous person. And I heard, purple people are not only interested in women. Open tortoise shell bracket Mr. Yi Li is very dangerous, close tortoise shell bracket. Barbara began to think, should I inform Gwen and the others? Open tortoise shell bracket or, close tortoise shell bracket. Open tortoise shell bracket. Let the bureau send people over to support, you can sell favors, close tortoise shell bracket. That daredevil is still in the house, can he deal with the Purple Man? Think to the end. Barbara still chose to let SHIELD send someone over to take a look, while she waited and watched, ready to take action or warm them up at any time. Do a few hands to prepare, foolproof. It is the quality of a professional agent. While Barbara was proud, she stretched out her thin fingers into the family bucket, picked out a piece of chicken popcorn and put it in her mouth. The slight chewing sound of click, click, resounded between the floors. It's a bit burnt. I won't buy from this one next time. It's here, my little beauty. The weirdo in the purple suit. Passing through the crowd on the street, he came to the gate of the detective agency openly and above board. Its skin is also purple. A group of people with live ammunition followed. But the pedestrians on the street turned a blind eye to these abnormalities, as if they didn't see them. If you can observe carefully, you can find it. Pedestrians passing by the Purple Man will have their eyes in a daze for a while, and they will return to normal after they move away. And the gun-wielding people around it also had blank eyes, obviously controlled by the hypnotic ability. I'm here. Kilgrave found out that the owner of this newly opened detective agency is a superb little beauty, so hypnotic ability came with a group of men and rushed over. The Purple Man has already used his hypnotic ability to insult many women he likes. He believed that this time, it would be no exception. It's a pity, blame it if you want. You are too far from Tiantang, and too close to Hell's Kitchen. Seeing that the door was unlocked, Kilgrave pushed the door open with a smile, ready to welcome his new plaything. Only, just as he was about to make a move, he noticed someone behind the door. Immediately, he took a few steps back abruptly, allowing the subordinates from the hypnotic ability to block in front of him. Next moment, the door was pushed open by an arm wrapped in red tights, revealing Murdoch holding a double stick behind the door. Purple Man, Night Devil. The Purple Man stepped back again. He moved a certain distance, allowing more people to cover himself. Daredevil. Why are you here? Kilgrave has reasons for being scruples about Murdoch. His hypnotic ability is not effective for everyone. Strong-willed people, and those whose physiology is different from ordinary people, can resist his mental manipulation. Daredevil is not only strong-willed, but also has a different echo-sensory system from ordinary people. He is among the people who can resist Kilgrave's ability. Why am I here? Matt was a little puzzled by the Purple Man's words. Didn't he come for himself? However, the lawyer's agile thinking made him quickly think of the reason. The Purple Man is the pervert among the super criminals. Open tortoise shell bracket. He may not know the identity of the female knight, thinking she is just a beautiful detective girl. After Matt figured it out, he didn't choose to leave. Fighting criminals was what he had been doing all along. With a swing of a red stick in his hand, it split into two parts in an instant, which were connected by a steel wire. The head of the stick is accurately thrown and retracted, and every time it can be entangled with a firearm, it can be pulled back, or it can be directly knocked down. Kilgrave's expression became ruthless, and he also manipulated the gunmen around him to fire at Murdoch. The gunshots are endless. Can't control, can't play physical attack hits. Matt's sensitive echo sense allows him to pass through the sound and avoid bullets in advance. But, on Kilgrave's side, there are too many people and enough history. Now it's not Daredevil's night home, which makes Murdoch very difficult. It was hard to catch the opportunity to attack. The Purple Man used the human flesh shield to resist again. Daredevil's principle of not killing makes him very restrained. Yi Li was not in a hurry to make a move in the house, and was speechless when he saw Daredevil's performance. Puts shackles on oneself. No wonder you are always being tortured by villains. Daredevil. Kilgrave saw his side gaining the upper hand, began to sing, "You mouse in the night. There's no place for you in the daytime. Hee hee, the dog is barking." Yi Li has seen enough. She swipe her finger on Black's wristband, fourth tone. The black ring is spinning. Spin it on the wrist. The figure on the seat disappeared in an instant. The information state of the bracelet isolates the function, so that no one will notice his disappearance, even the perception of Daredevil. At the same time, exclamation mark. A hole exploded in the clouds above the detective agency. A metal object like a cocoon fell at a high speed. With the sound of caca, wings spreading, the fans on the wings whirred. This is naturally Vulture Vulture, summoned by Yi Li. What's coming again? Kilgrave also spotted the Birdman jumping down from the air, and immediately manipulated the people around him to fire into the air. Boom, boom, boom. After the Vulture armor was strengthened by Yi Li with the mouse charm, its strength has reached the level that can beat Tony. The bullets fired by the gunmen with the guns of the gangsters could not penetrate the defense of the folded metal wings at all. And Kilgrave also tried to use ability to control Vulture, but found it completely ineffective. Yes, not being resisted like Daredevil, but completely ineffective. The other party is like a puppet without emotion. So he just watched. The pair of huge amounts of silver steel claws were getting closer and closer to him. No, the purple man unwillingly manipulated the people around him to lean over to protect him, trying to make the other party feel apprehensive. But the sharp metal claws pierced through his shoulders mercilessly, stabbing him and his meat shield together. Vulture just locked Kilgrave's loot bone with its claws, soared into the sky and flew into the distance again, flickering, leaving Murdoch in a daze. Who is this person? Abandoned floors. How is it going? Hawkeye Barton was fixed on the roof with a sling and landed on Barbara's floor. I hope I'm not late. Unfortunately. Barbara. You're really late, Barton. Hawkeye stopped bowing. Is something wrong with him? No. Barbara put the binoculars in front of her eyes, and said, "It's been resolved, it's Vulture who shot. I suspect it has something to do with the Black Spider. Last time against a generation of Green Goblin. He also appears with Black Spider. From this point of view, the connection between the Black Spider and the Ghost Spider Club may be on Yi Li. We have to pay more attention to this vice president." Is it? Hawkeye draws his bow. He who is in charge of the battle doesn't care about this kind of power communication, then report to Nick. On top of a tall building. The purple man was thrown to Yi Li's feet by Vulture. As for the black ring on Yi Li's wrist, it slowly stopped spinning at this moment, and it didn't take much time. But to his surprise, except the purple man, the person who was used as a human shield by the purple man was also captured by Vulture, and his heart was pierced, so he was already dead. It's not how much Yi Li cares about the life and death of a countryman, but that he knows this person. It was the lightning, Thompson possessed by the venom. It looked like venom had abandoned him, or he wouldn't have died here. According to the original trajectory, Thompson will become a venom agent in the future, barely a superhero. Unfortunately, he has no chance now. Don't worry about Thompson, who is already a corpse. Yi Li turned to look at the purple man at his feet. With a faint evil look on his face, he smiled lightly at him. Guess what I'm going to do? The purple man was trembling, sweating profusely. Because Yi Li did not open the Night Spider battlesuit. Kilgrave couldn't figure out Yi Li's identity for a moment. But the puppets Vulture and Green Goblin standing beside Yi Li gave him a guess. Vulture and Green Goblin who can make the disappearance look for the head, the one in front of you. May be the mastermind behind the scenes like Jin Bin. Do you want me to do something for you? Kilgrave swallowed, thinking he had guessed the other party's purpose, and quickly said, that's no problem. No matter which rich man or official you want to control, I can do it. As he spoke, he crawled like a pug to show his loyalty to Yi Li. There is no way, because he found that his ability has no effect on the people present. Yi Li ignored him, and walked to the rooftop on his own, looking at the scenery in the distance. For our Mr. Kilgrave, a little greeting first. Language fall. Green Goblin stepped forward mechanically, pinching the back of Kilgrave's neck with his hand, and lifted him in front of Vulture. Next, under the terrified eyes of the purple man, Vulture slowly unfolded its blade-like sharp metal wings. This, no, quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Wait for Yi Li to turn around. Kilgrave's screams had already subsided, tears were streaming down his face, and his eyes were blinded by the pain. Vulture kindly made it. 5 limbs removal surgery. I heard you like hypnotic ability abuse. The corner of Yi Li's mouth curled up into a smile, lightly lifted the sole of his shoe, and stepped on Zaren's face, thinking about my sister. The purple man's pupils suddenly dilated, he didn't know why he ended up like this. I also like cute girls. Maybe we can chat. It's a little different from the usual gentle and leisurely. There was a trace of cruelty and evil in Yi Li's eyes. For example, what tricks do you like? Kilgrave is in terribly painful state now, how can he answer, he can only whimper there. It's okay, it doesn't matter if you don't say. Yi Li put his foot down. Turn around without haste. Leave a word for Kilgrave. I can tell you, I like to compare. ... Green Goblin took Yi Li's place, took off a pumpkin grenade pinned to his waist, and squatted down. He broke Kilgrave's jaw and stuffed it in. Then tear off the tab. In the fear of the purple men waiting to die. Boom. Yi Li opened her arms, and fireworks bloomed behind her. You have defeated Jessica Yi's enemy of fate. As her relationship account, you can choose one of the following rewards. 1. Monetary reward. $1 million. 2. Random reward. Ability Absolute Soul Shield. 3. Servant reward. Transform Zebdia Kilgrave and get an absolutely loyal. 2. Before the system finished broadcasting. Yi Li made a choice. Ability Absolute Mind Shield. Add a mind shield to oneself or other targets, so that the autonomous consciousness is absolutely unaffected. Mind shield is not infinitely attached. 10 spiritual shields are initially loaded, and one will be automatically generated every time. Yi Li installed one for herself, and planned to install it for Gwen and the others when she returned home. This is a door-to-door reward. It didn't make him much happier. On the contrary, the mood is not very beautiful. Make a metaphor. The purple man is like a pile of shit, whoever steps on it will be upset. Fortunately, there are hands who can vent their anger. Hey, Mr. Yi. You don't seem to be here anymore. Here, Murdoch is looking in the detective agency. After the purple man was captured by Vulture, he turned around and found that Yi Li was gone. I'm here. Yi Li came out from the bathroom. Matt looked strange. There are constant gunshots outside. Are you going to the bathroom inside? You know, it's like watching a movie. Yi Li said calmly, there will always be pee spots. Murdoch, does that mean he fights like a bad movie? Night Demon. Accompanied by a female voice, a woman in red ninja costume appeared at the door of the detective agency. It's Daredevil's enemy and best friend, Erica. Then, she and Murdoch fought lovingly outside the door. Erica is here. Naturally, many ninjas from the hand were nearby, and they all jumped out to help. Yi Li smiled. He doesn't need to look for it. The punching bag delivered itself to the door. So, Vulture, called, Green Goblin, called, Electro, called. A few minutes later, Vulture's metal wings spread out, and several hand ninjas hung bloody on it. Green Goblin held 2 ninjas in his hands and pressed them against the wall of the alley. With the flight of the Green Goblin skateboard under his feet, the ninjas were pressed against the wall and rubbed wildly. If Vulture and Green Goblin, hand ninjas can't hold back. That Electron man was a one-sided massacre, a ninja who swept across a piece of lightning and killed every piece. In the end, Erica was left alone. She got away with it because she wasn't a neon native who had a good life and ran away in despair. Again, Murdoch can't fix it today. If he is Chinese. Maybe I have to suspect that I am the son of destiny in the novel, the kind who has a big boss behind him to help all the time. Sunset. The hand members, have they been cleaned up? Jessica blinked her big eyes and asked, Big brother, did you see that? Yi Li nodded, I saw it with my own eyes. Li, you should stay away from their fights. Jessica put her arms around him, and said seriously with a small face, that's too dangerous. Yi Li shrugged, but, they fought near the detective agency. That's right. Now Jessica felt a little guilty. I thought it wasn't so dangerous outside Hell's Kitchen. Sorry, big brother. Then how are you going to compensate me? Yi Li thought of the purple man he had just dealt with today, touched Jessica's little head, and said intentionally, do you know how much the big brother gave you trouble? Jessica blushed and said, then I'm wearing detective clothes today. You said you like this. The golden sunset light reflected on her rosy face, which was really pretty. Jessica. Yi Li stopped, put her hands on the shoulders of her good sister, with a serious expression on her face. I think we can take that step. This won't work. Jessica buried her head in his arms, her voice was as thin as a mosquito's fly. We're brother and sister. Not biological. Yi Li put his arms around Jessica, stroked her back, and at the same time quietly blessed her with an absolute spiritual shield, and except for that step, I've done everything I can, haven't I? Jessica remained silent and did not speak. Her head was buried in Big Brother's arms for a long time, the two shadows gradually elongated under the setting sun. Finally, Jessica raised her head, her eyes were more moving than ever before. Then wait for me. Finished. She broke away from Yi Li's arms and ran towards the house first. Yi Li confused. Under natural conditions, except for the hottest dog days in summer, cats can be in heat, but the best breeding season is spring and autumn. After school, Felicia returned home before Yi Li and Jessica, and was watching the TV. She now has no cat ears and tail. That attitude is definitely controllable, otherwise it will reveal that she is a black cat when she goes out. Whoosh! Felicia suddenly saw a figure flying past in front of her. Jessica. Big brother, it's okay, come in. Hearing Jessica's rare timid voice, Yi Li turned the doorknob and walked into the room. In the room, Jessica changed into a refreshing and comfortable dress, which is a matching light gauze material. Luahui spilled in from the window. Put her fair. The skin, which looks like wheat, has a special flavor. Jessica's upper body is a small black tube top with hanging shoulders, which reveals her slender waist. However, I can't see that cute little belly button. Because it was blocked by Black's high-waisted shorts. Shorts aren't that hot. Bottom swings above the knee. While Jessica's outfit looks astringent, it also adds a bit of girlish conservatism. Yi Li secretly commented, the soft fabric texture at a glance belongs to the kind that can be easily pulled off. Leave. Jessica looked focused at the moment. It seems that Yi Li is the only one in his eyes. Nothing more. She licked her teeth and moistened her lower lip, and said softly, I want to be in a special place. A special place. Yi Li is getting more and more confused. Follow me. The girl stepped on her jade feet, wrapped in a silver streamer, floated lightly to the window, and opened the window. Breeze blowing, lift up Wuxi. Come here. Jessica waved to Yi Li. Jessica, you don't want to just go out like this, do you? Yi Li walked over. But by my sister. Suddenly he hugged her in his arms. Jessica put her arms around Big Brother's waist and winked playfully at him. It's okay, we're not walking on the ground anyway. The silver light took the ribbon and extended from the window to the sky. The sound of the wind whizzed past his ears. Yi Li was hugged by Jessica, climbing higher and higher. Until, pass through the clouds and stand on the vast sea of clouds. Distance. A big sun that is about to fall has dyed the sea of clouds with a layer of gold. Beauty and silence. Except for the sound of the wind, all the noise disappeared. Between heaven and earth, it seems that there are only two figures embracing each other. How about Big Brother, isn't this place very nice? Jessie slid her hand across the invisible white cloud beside her, and the mist floated up and down in her palm. I just asked Sky to check the flight, there will be no passenger dead plane passing by today. Yi Li also reached out and grabbed the cloud. What to do? What should I do if I am romanticized by my sister? Wait online. Very urgent. By the way, weather control. Yi Li cleverly thought of a way to fight back. How could Jessica take the lead at such a critical moment? Jessica. Hear the call of Big Brother. Jessica held the cloud in her hands, and asked Yi Li nervously, yes, is it about to start? Yi Li whispered in her ear, I found a cloud with a strange shape right behind you, do you want to take a look? Big Brother is really, like a child, looking at the clouds at this time. How strange. Although Jessica said so, she turned her head and took a look, and then she saw. Dot 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 dot. Golden love cloud. It stands in the clouds, more eye-catching than Luahui. Shape. Dot 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 dot. Like a painter, draw out in the sea of clouds. Wow, nature is amazing. The girl couldn't take her eyes away. Eyes full of little stars. Girls always yearn for beautiful things, even Jessica, who is usually carefree, is no exception. Don't look at Jessica, there are even more amazing things. Yi Li gently broke her little head, and the wind pushed the two together. Sunset, sea of clouds churning. Looming pink limbs and jade arms. Swallowing clouds and mist right. Yi Li does not forget to use the ability of the chicken charm to avoid making the people below think. Today's weather forecast is wrong. Turn on the TV. At 6:12 p.m., at sunset, a magnificent heart-shaped cloud appeared over the Lower East Side of New York City. The rare beauty makes couples make wishes one after another. Experts explain. Kazi. Ivan Vanki was not interested in this kind of news, so he switched the channel he wanted. It will take 5 to 10 years for most countries, and it will take at least 20 years for hammer industry. Opening square bracket. But I have done you a great favor. I can maintain world peace by myself. What else do you want from me? I try cooperate with those jumping beam joker. You, Mr. Stark. The meeting is over. The meeting is over today. Listen, I am for the whole people. I am honored to serve the country. Toggle, I am Iron Man. Crackling, the hot blue and white light flashed across, and the TV was divided into two halves by sparks. Hello. Yi Li smoothed a few strands of short hair in front of his forehead, picked up the phone and said, Ms. Pepper, what can I do for you? Sorry, Dr. Yi. Pepper. I just think that Mr. Yi is an intellectual and gentle man. I have encountered some things, so I want to ask your opinion. Definitely, if you are not free, I will not bother. Oh, let's talk about it, Yi Li said lazily. I happen to have nothing to do, so I will chat with you. You can speak slowly, I am not in a hurry. Hear him say that. Pepper spoke with confidence. You know, Tony always likes to do unexpected things. She knows that Tony and Yi Li have a very good relationship recently, and they are not restrained, just like chatting at home. He donated his entire collection of modern art to the Boy Scouts of America. Pepper, except for your Iron Man, he climbed up on the table in front of me and hung it up. Oh. I don't know what he was thinking. I'm not saying your painting is not good, Mr. Yi. Yi Li, it's okay, Ms. Pepper, but is that all? The most important thing is what Tony told me later. Pepper's tone sounded a little restless, and he hesitated to speak. He wants me to be the CEO of Stark Industries, meaning that he wants me to be his successor. I don't know what to think. Hearing this, Yi Li's thoughts changed, and he quickly thought of the reason. It was because of palladium poisoning, and Stark was dealing with the funeral. But he didn't say it. Let him handle Stark's affairs by himself. Yi Li encouraged Pepper with a sentence. Pepper, don't doubt yourself. Do your best, it's fine, I think Tony treats you as family. Family, Pepper whispered the word, after thinking for a while. She suddenly smiled. Thank you, Li, you're welcome. Good night, Pepper. Remember, family. The night chat is over. Yeah, there is a faint sleep talk. Yi Li looked sideways. My good sister is sleeping soundly. There is a satisfied smile on the corner of her mouth, and her beautifully curved shoulders are showing. He smiled, pulled down the sheet. I want to help Jessica cover up. Who is holding back? Yi Li looked to the other side. Gwen, Felicia. The two girls slept soundly, their jade legs were entangled, and the single corner of the quilt was tightly clamped. Anyway, your constitution won't catch a cold. It's not early. Yi Li fell asleep in peace. Another great day at the end. After a while, Malibu, California, Tony Stark Beach House. I forgot to ask you last time, Li. Tony was fighting happy in the ring, and asked Yi Li, who was sitting on the sidelines, how did you ride that motorcycle from New York to here? What is its speed? Yi Li, just treat it as the magic of the East. Hey, it's fine if you don't want to say it. How can Tony believe in magic now? Steven hasn't even had a car accident yet. Yi Li picked up drinks on the shelf at hand, picked up one of the green bottles and asked, "What is this? It looks green. Would you like to try my chlorophyll juice?" Tony said foolishly, "The taste is not bad." Yi Li threw this thing aside in disgust. "Tony, you said you would never cheat money again." "Oh, sorry, I'm used to it." "Hey shoo." Tony dodges Happy's punch at this point and hits him in the face with a backhand elbow. Bump. Profound. Happy was thrown back from the beating, with a look of surprise on his face. "Which trick is this?" "Feel sorry." Tony jumped up and down with small steps, and said, "It's called mixed martial arts, and it's only been popular for 3 weeks. It's called nasty boxing." Happy debunked him speechlessly. "It's been around for a long time." "Oh, Lee taught me." Tony looked proudly at Yi Li, who was sucking on the juice. "Don't stick to moves, the enemy doesn't know the rules of the ring, right?" Yi Li nodded and gave him a thumbs up cooperatively. "That's right, Tony, you're a quick learner." Happy rolled his eyes. These two friends are still unreasonable. "Okay Happy, put it up, let's continue." Tony is coming back with Happy. "Here comes the notary. Tony, come and sign the papers. I promise this is the only time I'll ever transfer your company to me." Pepper walked in and asked Tony to come down to sign, and at the same time gave Yi Li a wink to express his thanks. Yi Li returned a polite smile. "Oh, sucking juice," so he nodded slightly instead. Tony was in the midst of playing, but he was still unwilling to step down from the ring. "We're having a happy time." Seeing Pepper's wink, Happy thought she was winking at Yi Li, and reminded Tony, "Oh, boss, you have to be careful." "What?" Tony just paused, because he saw a beauty with reddish-brown curly hair, holding a black folder, walking in at this moment. Natasha Romanoff, in a white shirt and black trousers, was dressed in an OL outfit. Her outstanding figure and steady temperament attracted Stark's attention. Yi Li also stopped sucking the juice and cast her gaze curiously. "The famous Black Widow is indeed beautiful." Natasha Romanoff glanced at Yi Li without any trace, and the information from her colleague Barbara's investigation emerged in her mind. This is also an important figure in the Bureau. Vice President of the Ghost Spider Club. The non-biological big brother of the president, Knight, Jessica, the real backbone of the club. Close relationship with Ghost Spider, Woman Knight, Jessica, Black Cat, Daisy Johnson, Cobweb, Cindy, etc. The latest news shows this person is also related to Black Spider. The information flashed by quickly. Natasha Romanoff at the moment met Yi Li with her own eyes. Handsome is indeed handsome, no wonder you can hook up with so many beauties. Open tortoise shell bracket. It's like sucking juice, it looks more out of tune than Stark. Well, Pepper has to be careful now. Happy hit Tony, who couldn't move his eyes, with his fist. The first lesson, don't take your eyes off. Tony kicked him back to the corner of the ring, followed by relentless combos, pang pang, pang pang. Stark used the skills Yi Li taught him, trying to show off in front of Natasha Romanoff. Fortunately, Harpy was wearing CBCH protective gear, so he didn't get beaten up by this bad friend and boss. Clang clang clang. Yi Li rang the bell to save poor Happy. "I won't play anymore." Happy took off the protective gear on his body and quickly slipped off the stage. "Li," Tony called out to Yi Li. "How?" Yi Li sat back on his seat and asked, "You want to fight me again?" "Oh, still." Tony didn't want to embarrass himself in front of the new beauty. "Can I get my chlorophyll juice?" "For you." With a flick of Yi Li's hand, the mug containing chlorophyll juice fell into Tony's hands precisely. Natasha Romanoff glimpsed this scene out of the corner of her eye, her eyes flickering. Ordinary people may think this is nothing. But as a master of fighting, she can see a little way from details such as the strength of Yi Li's arms. "Please sign your initials." Natasha Romanoff focused on two things. While observing Yi Li, she did not forget to hand the document to Pepper for her to sign. "Miss." After taking a few sips of chlorophyll juice, Tony pointed at Natasha Romanoff and asked, "What are you doing?" "Natasha Romanoff Rushman." Natasha Romanoff replied confidently and calmly. Tony waved to her. "Come here, please come to the ring." Pepper stopped. "You don't want her to." Tony interrupted her. "The boss has the final say, and I am the boss." Pepper looked helplessly at Yi Li. "What about the agreed family?" Yi Li shrugged and said to Tony, "I don't think this is a good idea either." At the moment Natasha Romanoff had readily agreed and stooped into the ring, apparently not taking Tony's fighting skills seriously. Natasha Romanoff is an old agent for decades at least, so it's not a problem at all to clean up Tony, who has just learned a few hands. I think it's a good idea. Tony waved to Yi Li again. Come on, Li, come up, please teach her a few sheep first. Yi Li glanced at Natasha Romanoff. Oh. I will fight with women casually. He thought so. Then, slowly walked onto the ring. Open tortoise shell bracket. If it is a beautiful young lady, then you can still play with it a few times. Leaf. After leaving the station on the ring, Natasha Romanoff looked at him with a smile that wasn't a smile, and the slightly raised eyebrows. A touch of flattery and arrogance formed her aura. Yi Li is not to be outdone, with a faint smile, arms folded, and unscrupulously scanning her appearance and figure. By the way, he usually sticks to beautiful girls like Gwen and the others. Even Kate Mara, a slightly older law enforcement officer, is about the same age as him. An old woman like the widow. Cough older beauties, this is the first time I have come into contact with. Yi Li is unavoidably a little strange. What kind of style would such a beauty be? A few seconds. Both of them were silent and didn't speak. At this moment, whoever speaks first, the aura is weaker. Only, Tony in the audience looked very pained. No, I let you go up and teach two hands. Why did you two look at each other so affectionately? Cough cough. Mr. Stark coughed twice, reminding someone not to pick up girls in his house. Li, you can start now, I will pay Miss Natasha Romanoff's tuition for her. Yi Li whistled. Let's get started. Miss Natasha Romanoff, have you ever learned martial arts? Knowing why, ask first hand first. Yes. The corners of Natasha Romanoff's lips curled up, as if she couldn't help smiling. She is confident that she can defeat Yi Li. How she feels now can be described as pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger. This is also as an agent. One of the few pleasures. Tisk, so few words. With a reserved attitude, the four men took the initiative to start the conversation. Advance can be attacked, retreat can be defended. It looks passive, but it is actually active. Master. For fighting technique contests, Yi Li didn't care. On the contrary, it was the contest with Natasha Romanoff in some aspects, which made him surprisingly interested. Like Jessica and the others, they are soft and cute. Besides him, who has ever been in love? Ignorant girls are naturally not proficient in anything. Between men and women, you advance and you retreat, and I retreat and you advance. Basically, whatever Yi Li says, they will be obedient. This is definitely good, so you don't have to worry about it. But, this does not affect his interest in competing with Black Widow in special skills at the moment. Seeing that Natasha Romanoff had finished answering, Yi Li didn't respond immediately, so she couldn't help feeling, why does this man seem a bit stupid? It's not usually those young girls. Be proactive. She had no choice but to take the initiative and said, why don't we choose to compete? No problem. Yi Li made a gesture. Traditional martial arts, click here. Question mark. Natasha Romanoff tilted her head. What is this number? Over the years, she has fought countless enemies. Why hasn't she seen this kind of thing? Miss Natasha Romanoff, come back to life. Yi Li controlled her strength well, and slapped Natasha Romanoff's ear with a palm not exceeding the strength of a mortal, and the strong wind picked up a few strands of her hair. Hearing the whistling wind, Natasha Romanoff's heart was shocked, and she looked at Yi Li with a little more surprise in her eyes. Although she underestimated the enemy, if Yi Li's palm didn't avoid her, but hit her face. It is estimated that the tall nose will be patted down. Hey Li, be careful not to hurt her pretty face. Seeing that Yi Li almost slapped Natasha Romanoff on the face, Tony secretly feels that he really doesn't know how to be sympathetic to women. I don't know how those top-notch beauties got caught. Who? Natasha Romanoff let out a breath and smiled. Mr. Li, you are very good, it seems that I am no match. If you can easily beat Yi Li. Natasha Romanoff doesn't mind showing a few hands. Just taking the performance of Yi Li's palm as a reference, if she wants to make a move, she has to use all her skills. Black Widow won't do that. As a seasoned agent, how could he expose his strength in order to be competitive? Can you teach me? Natasha Romanoff gestured to approach her. She smelled of perfume. It should be Britney's Fresh and Fruity Scent series. Naturally, Yi Li would not refuse, so he embraced her and taught her some essentials. When teaching Cindy them, girls are sometimes shy and different. Regarding the physical contact, neither Yi Li nor Natasha Romanoff showed any abnormalities on their faces, and they looked very serious. But the people in the arena didn't care. The people under the ring feel differently. Pepper rubbed the center of her brows. Why is there always an ambiguous atmosphere in the air when Lee and the beauty are present at the same time? Humanoid self-propelled air infiltrator. Tony was inexplicably resentful. Teach beautiful women, cuddle and hug there. To teach him is to beat and beat. Here, Natasha Romanoff, who was drawn, was a little surprised by the skills Yi Li taught her. She found out, with his decades of accumulated fighting experience, in just a few minutes, there are even new gains. You must know that her fighting skills have been stuck at the bottleneck for a long time and have not improved. Even if she only gains a little this time, it is still very rare. And Natasha Romanoff felt that Yi Li had only taught her a little, and she could have more. Therefore, after Yi Li finished teaching Natasha Romanoff a few hands, she offered to exchange contact information. We can communicate again. Natasha Romanoff grabbed the phone number slip with her slender hand, stuffed it into Yi Li's trouser pocket, and deliberately induced the deeper kind. She definitely refers to a more in-depth exchange of fighting techniques, deliberately using this kind of easy-to-think wrong wording, because she wants to use her appearance advantage to attract Yi Li to come to her. After the two exchanged contact information, Yi Li didn't play with Natasha Romanoff anymore. After getting off the ring, she sat back on the sofa. He still likes Gwen and the others more than the widow sister. Don't they look cute and hot, well-behaved girls? It's my turn. See Yi Li take down Natasha Romanoff with one move. Tony had the illusion of, I can do it too, and went to the ring to fight her. So next, deliver. The arena rang. Once Natasha Romanoff figured out what Tony was learning, she took him down easily. Ah. Tony rubbed his back and sat down beside Yi Li. Li, the fighting technique you taught is not very good, I can't even beat her. Practice more. Yi Li didn't even raise her eyes. If you didn't have the moves I taught, you would have been defeated by her. What are you looking at? Tony poked his head. Those dancers again. Those girls of yours are much prettier than them. News. Yi Li didn't care either, and showed Tony the phone to satisfy his curiosity. Milwaukee. Gamma infection. Patient once drank a bottle of guarana soda. Oh, it's old news from a while ago. Tony chatted. I think your heart cloud is more interesting than this. Maybe you can make it. Girls will definitely like it. Mr. Stark. Natasha Romanoff handed the document to him at this moment. Your fingerprints are needed here. Okay, Pepper. Now you're the boss. After fingerprinting read on the transfer document, Tony and Yi Li continued to chat. Li, are you interested in racing in Morocco? Hi. Absolutely hi this time. The next day. Under the Ghost Spider Club. Drug Research Institute. Beep beep. Beep 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 beep. Tick tock. Tick tock. The measuring sounds of various instruments interspersed with the sound of the instruments running, and continued to ring. Before Walter ran away, he secretly gave the super soldier serum in his mind to his daughter, and Felicia gave it to him as a thank you to Yi Li. And have complete data. Serum has now been successfully developed. Next, as long as we continue to develop weakened and diluted versions, we can make various health care medicines for sale. The money will come rushing in. Honey, don't call it that. Yi Li patted Kate Malapigu and said calmly. Since I ask for things, Ross has already done it. Let him set a time. Send someone to inject the serum. Quote. It's really ruthless. Kate Mara complained. I've been eaten by you, can't you treat me better? I'll be nice to you right away. Yi Li pulled her to his office in the Research Institute. Kate Mara is different from Gwen. She is not a superhero potential stock, nor does she have any systematic relationship account tasks. Even Yi Li didn't have much affection for her, and the relationship happened only because of the interest. The reason why Kate Mara is still by his side and has not been dumped is that contacting Ross is one aspect. On the other hand, Gwen and they are like the main meal, not enough for him. This female law enforcement officer who gave her blood when she first saw her is not bad as a small dessert after a meal. And Kate Mara, in her words, as an elite person, She wants to leave purity to excellent men, and Yi Li is the one she chooses. So within a few seconds of meeting for the first time, Kate Mara decided which hotel to book that night. How am I for you, Kate? Good. Kate Mara responded hazy-eyed. She felt that she had chosen the right man. As expected, she had to be decisive when it was time to make a move, and hesitation would only lead to defeat. And in the future, Kate Mara will be more grateful for the decision made at that time. People will know then. It is extremely lucky to be a Yi Li woman, even if she just maintains a relationship and has no status. Then bite this. At this time, Yi Li put a round object near Kate Mara's bright red lips, motioning for her to bite. What's this? Take Kate Mara's current perspective. She couldn't see the object on her lips clearly, only the smell and touch of this object was a little familiar. Yi Li explained, it's just the police badge you dropped next to it. Is that so? Heard the words. Obediently, the female law enforcement officer held the police badge symbolizing her sacred profession in her small mouth, and bit it tightly. Time flies. U.S. military base. General Ross, get ready over there. Kate Mara conveyed Yi Li's meaning to Ross, just waiting for the general to send someone over. Quote. Very well, Ms. Kate, you've done a good job. But I think you should get a new badge. General Ross saw the tooth marks on the police badge she was wearing, at least she had lived for decades and was in a high position. He naturally guessed it quickly. Kate Mara has become Yi Li's person. The information is correct. That man's reputation is well deserved. In fact, it's not that the scheming Ross never thought of sending his own people to hook up with Yi Li. Just an investigation. Yi Li's eyes are high. Pick and choose. Discovered by professionals. Only this female law enforcement officer who is not under his command may make the other party look up to him. He had to get someone to contact Kate Mara for cooperation. Kate Mara was also interested in the famous Yi Li, so she agreed to lead the contact. So she is not a professional female spy, and she has no superior-subordinate relationship with General Ross, not even a system. Okay, but I want to keep this as a souvenir. Kate Mara smiled politely, put away the police badge pinned on the police uniform, turned around and left. Bronsky, standing at the foot of the shadows, said at this moment, will the serum allow me to regain the strength of my youth? Sir. Stronger than that, Captain America, you must know. Ross tapped the end of his cigar, your dream is about to come true, Tien Bing. Doctor Strange, what is this? The doctor in the white coat saw the bill document in the hands of his colleague and said in surprise, you don't want to participate in the Morocco racing competition, do you? That's too dangerous for us doctors. Don't worry, I'm just going to relax, even it's a little hobby of mine. Strange's tone was a little proud. I will control the speed. Fight for the championship with those professional players. I'm not that stupid. Quote, then, as you please. The unconscious arrogance in Strange's words made the white coat doctor feel uncomfortable, so he didn't choose to persuade him. He even thought jealously, it's better to cripple this surgical genius. Seeing that time, I still can't put on a proud face. Suddenly, the two people who were talking didn't notice it. Outside their window, not far away, a thin figure in a yellow robe stands sassy, with an open folding fan in his hand, mysteriously covering his face. Although there are some changes in the timeline, but you will eventually embark on this path. Strange. There are people coming and going around the scientific research personnel. Gwen was wearing the ghost spider suit, curiously picked up a tube of reagents with her little hand. Lee, this is Felicia's father's secret. Strengthening the human body, super soldiers. She looked at the description posted on it and said in surprise, no wonder people from S.H.I.E.L.D. want it too. Gwen is also a top student in the field of biological research, so he knows how powerful this serum is. Don't be so surprised, the growth rate of this thing is not as strong as yours. Yi Li said, looking at the time displayed on the black ring on his wrist, they're coming. Don't worry, Lee, I will definitely make you face. The pretty face under Gwen's battle suit smiled triumphantly. Today, she came to support Yi Li. Perhaps in the eyes of some fans, the Ghost Spider Club is just a fun faction. But in fact, the club is one step ahead of the Avengers plan and has become a large-scale superhero organization. Many industries under its umbrella have formed a capital chain cycle, and several branches have been opened in various places. Even based on the support rate of fans, he soon gained some voice in the political circle. The characteristics of magnesium. Sky has been coordinating and managing these things recently. She is very smart and has the potential. After all, in the original trajectory of the comics, Daisy Johnson was also the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. It is not a problem to manage the club's property on behalf of Yi Lee and Jessica. Definitely, she is just the one who gives orders at the top, and there must be recruiting management underneath. In short, the Ghost Spider Club is developing so fast now that even S.H.I.E.L.D. has to start paying attention. It's hard to imagine that this was just a club created by high school students at first, and it will grow up so quickly. Among them are Yi Lee's contacts, Stark Industries' help and other factors, so I won't go into details one by one. Soon, General Ross arrived with his men. At his side was Bronski, followed by a line of heavily armed soldiers. General Ross, have your men wait outside. Yi Lee gave a warning without any hesitation, don't scare my researchers. Click, click, caw caw caw. The soldiers raised their guns, and the voices joined together. Gwen narrowed her eyes and made a movement. She stood in front of Yi Lee, the purple-pink lines on the battle suit glowed, and the slightly raised lines on the back that fit her body suddenly unfolded. 4 thin spider mechanical limbs stretched out. The tip of the mechanical foot lights up into a hot pink glow, like 4 short blades of lightsabers. This is exactly the energy weapon that Tony promised Yi Lee, Black Spider, to equip Ghost Spiders with their battle suit. It was developed by him recently. It is not as powerful as the original lightsaber, but it has no problem cutting common metal. You are guarding outside. Ross's eyes flashed with fear, and he asked the soldiers to put down their guns and retreat, leaving only a few guards behind. It's not just a ghost spider that scares him, it's just the Ghost Spider Club, not just this superhuman. Not to mention, there is also a black spider with a lot of connections. This is why Ross chose to cooperate with Yi Lee instead of other means. A green titan is enough to give him a headache. The deeds of the Black Spider are even more terrifying. Not at all like a righteous hero. It is said, there was once a big boss who wanted to die, ignored the Black Spider, and issued a warrant for his arrest. The result is, in one night, the entire family was slaughtered. The person who ordered a thorough investigation later was killed again. Then no one dared to care about it. The case related to the Black Spider has also been listed as an absolute secret by the government and will not be announced to the outside world. A green titan loses his mind when angry. Black Spider can't. And Ross doesn't have a daughter anymore, who is Black Spider's girlfriend. So now, he politely accompanied Yi Lee, and sent Braun Keith into the serum injection room. Boss, I need your key here. The injection personnel asked Yi Lee for instructions. Yi Lee undid the shackles of a liquid nitrogen storage tank, which stored a small dose of serum. As for injecting Braun Keith with the serum, Yi Lee knows that Ross is doing it against Banner. But he doesn't care. Although Banner had a little friendship with him when he was an assistant, Braun Keith would not be an opponent of the Green Titan after injecting this thing. Might as well make a deal and ask Ross to do me a favor. As for what? Wilhelm Stryker. But that's for later. The injection will be divided into 2 hits deep into the muscles at once. Another hit to the marrow. Yi Lee introduces it here. The injector took the reagent syringe and aimed it at Braun Keith's neck. It will hurt a lot the second time. Dump. Beat in with the serum. Ah. Even veteran Braun Keith couldn't help crying out in pain. He groaned quite a bit. Mountain, Virginia, Cornell University. The tiny transparent cobweb sticks to the spire, and seems to disappear under the refraction of sunlight. Gwen put her arms around Yi Lee, wrapped her arms tightly around the waist that made her obsessed, and swung to the central commanding heights of the university. Lee, what are we doing so far away? Gwen put her hand on her forehead and looked at the academy under the sun, wanting to see the difference between the university and the high school she was studying in. This is her first time in Virginia, and she is still with Yi Lee. It feels like a sweet 2-person trip. Yi Lee said leisurely, I have nothing to do, let's see how the serum works, and it will also open your eyes by the way. Eye-opening. Gwen thought Yi Lee's eye-opening meant bringing her out to play, and snorted, HMPH, Kyan doesn't take her to a more romantic place, how stingy. Open tortoise shell bracket we don't seem to be on the same channel. If the target of the coquetry is Gwen. Yi Li is still very spoiled. He didn't explain, and coaxed, how about taking you to Monaco next time? Oh, there is a racing competition. Quote, racing. Don't go. Gwen puffed up her mouth, straight man. ... She is not interested in racing cars. I don't even care about bullying her because she likes him so much. Oh, sometimes Gwen is hard to coax. But it's okay. Yi Li has a lot of ways to deal with girls. He secretly manipulated the airflow and swept across the flower garden of Corvo University. The breeze carried petals of various colors and blew to the top of the tower. Petal, so beautiful. After Gwen was slightly stunned, he stretched out his hand to pick up a piece of pure white petals around him, and said happily, Lee, I didn't expect this place to be so romantic. Indeed, I'm surprised too. Yi Li made a perfunctory sentence, and took the opportunity to get closer. He lowered his head and put up flying gold. Gwen also took off the head of the battle suit obediently, closed her beautiful eyes, and dedicated her lips to her lover. What's the matter with the wind today? My God. The flowers in the green belt are all blown bald. Yi Li set off this strange trend, which also aroused discussions among students, who felt that the school affairs must be pissed off. You boys are really. A girl looked at the sea of flowers in the sky, her eyes were full of love, don't you think it's very romantic? Definitely, my little sweetheart. The boy next to her wanted to take the opportunity to ask for a kiss, looks so romantic, Hey, I haven't agreed to your pursuit yet. The girl pushed it away, obviously not liking the boy. But, in every corner of the school. What's more, the couple who kissed because of the beautiful fluttering petals. If you can see the panorama from a high altitude, you will find this scene. It seems to be Yi Li and Gwen, a pair of lovers, leading the young men and women below on the high tower. Bruce Banner and Betty Ross, who were about to part, were also infected by this atmosphere. Betty leans up to Bruce to kiss him goodbye. But Bruce reluctantly stopped her. He was afraid that his heart would beat too fast. That big guy ran out again. The couple below are still booing. On Yi Li's side, she let go of Gwen and said, just kissing is not enough, I want more, Gwen. Aha, Gwen blinked innocently, she is an innocent girl who doesn't understand anything. But the body. But without Yi Li's elaboration, he skillfully bent his slender legs and tiptoed the indigo battle suit. Although the battle suit has been improved, the color scheme is still the same. The indigo battle suit sole is a reference to the original ballet shoes. Yi Li said, it's still the same formula, still the familiar taste of uniform temptation. Big head dad finished kissing. It's the little boy's turn. Open tortoise shell bracket. Hey, that's. Ross has arrived. Close tortoise shell bracket. There is skilled Gwen. Yi Li at the moment doesn't need to do anything either. Nothing to do. Seeing the military armed vehicles that Ross ambushed Bruce in the distance, he couldn't help feeling playful. Strengthen the chicken charm, Woo. Wou. Wou. Bruce just walked out of college, he heard 9 resounding driving sounds approaching him. Turning around, I saw several military armed vehicles. Run. Oops, the sniper will take 3 minutes to get in position. Ross questioned in the communication, who acted without authorization. Sir, the vehicle is out of control. Den. Bruce ran as hard as he could, but was eventually surrounded by Ross's soldiers in front and behind a corridor. He is blocked. Ross gave the order, fire 2 tear gas bombs in. When, as 2 tear gas bombs smashed into the corridor and sprayed out white mist, Bruce's pupils also began to turn into green. Oh, here we go. Yi Li stopped enjoying and patted Gwen on the shoulder. Gwen, look over there. Huh. Gwen puffed out her mouth cutely and turned her head to look, and then spit out a mouthful. Puff. What is that? I saw a big green monster head slamming into the glass window of the corridor and roaring loudly. Roar. Yi Li watched Hulk killing all directions, and smiled at Gwen. Did you open your eyes? So that's what you mean. What kind of monster is this? Gwen wiped the corner of her mouth unwillingly. Is it powerful? Do you want me to clean it up? She felt that although this monster was scary, it should be about the same as a lizard man. Don't worry. Yi Li stopped her and said, look more clearly, who are those soldiers? Gwen looked suspiciously. Is that General Ross? She had just added nutrients to her smart little head, and she quickly guessed what was going on. He let that person inject serum just to deal with this monster. This is no monster, Gwen. Yi Li didn't hide it from her, and said directly, he is Dr. Banner. There's nothing to hide either. Doctor again. Gwen has no concept of Banner, she has only seen Bruce Banner's name in academic papers. Her biggest thought now is instead why are these monsters turned into doctors? Dr. Connors is also like this. It's dangerous to do experiments, it will turn people green. Okay Gwen, take these pictures. Yi Li got up and said seriously, recording the data. By the way, I think S.H.I.E.L.D. would trade some intel for it too, Brad would love this. Quote. Gwen nodded, picked up the shoulder-length blonde hair in her hands, and then the battle suit's head was automatically covered again. Finish these. She gave an instruction to the battle suit applet, open hollow corner bracket ghost, and started the camera analysis function. Turned on. The head of the ghost spider battlesuit, the position of the eye lens, began to draw a series of data streams. After a little while, seeing that Braun Keith can entangle with the newly transformed Green Titan a few times, Yi Li nodded satisfied with the products produced by herself. The effect is not bad. To know, cannon bullets hitting the Green Titan are similar to peanuts hitting the common people. It is already very excellent to be able to do this step. But Yi Li knows, Braun Keith will not be satisfied. After that the helicopter pissed Hulk off and was shot down, only to land on Betty who was rushing over. In the flames, Hulk protected Betty. The battle is over. Yi Li was not interested in watching the family ethics drama that followed, and left with Gwen after glancing at the sky. Boom, there was a sudden thunder. It began to rain cats and dogs. Time flies, leave, back to New York. Gwen was very impressed with this journey. You said that big guy, where will he go next? Yi Li operated the computer in front of him, and replied flatly, we are here, New York. What? Gwen was taking off her dress. When she heard this answer, she asked confusedly, why? Why did he come? Yi Li didn't speak. She turned the laptop in front of her and showed it to her. Some information is displayed on the screen. Mr. Lan, Dr. Samuel Stern, Grayburn College. Inform Jessica and them, if Green's monsters appear on the streets. Don't worry about it, someone will fix it. Quote, oh. Gwen nodded blankly, but still couldn't figure out what was going on. See her such a rare stupid look. Yi Li closed the notebook and walked over. Leave, wait a minute, a few days in a blink of an eye. New York City, Harlem. Night, roar, R. Hulk fought fiercely with the abomination, roaring, fist to flesh fighting flying around, from the street to the end of the street. On the roof of a building in the distance, Yi Li was dressed as a black spider, tilted his head slightly, and took a few leisurely glances. After that, he didn't mind his own business, and his figure gradually disappeared. Appeared again, already in the laboratory of Mr. Blue, Dr. Samuel Stern. Look at the surrounding glass cabinets, which are full of Banner's blood samples, and the storage capacity is quite large. Yi Li waved. The glass cabinets shattered one after another, and bags of blood samples flew out, surrounding him. Regardless of whether it is used or not, the benefits of not having to work hard are taken first. Well, here, Samuel Stern, who was knocked down by Bronster, was bleeding from the head. What a coincidence. Banner's blood flowed out of the glass jar above and dripped into Stern's forehead. His head began to swell rapidly, and without accident, he was about to become the big boss of the supervillain. But there is going to be an accident. When Stern was in a daze, he saw the black figure suddenly appearing in front of him, snatching his Banner blood sample, and anxiously stretched out his hand to grab the corner of Yi Li's windbreaker. Mine, this is mine. Exclamation mark dash dash. Yi Li's random kick ruined the birth of a supervillain. Then the figure flashed. All blood samples were taken. The next day, Ghost Spider Club. It is reported that 2 unidentified green monsters on the 121st block in the suburbs of New York caused a lot of damage. What happened to New York? Peter looked at the news, stuffed popcorn into his mouth. This kind of monster is everywhere now. Since the last time he was shot out of the shadow by Venom. He just stayed at the club honestly and did odd jobs with Ned. After all, the remaining green scales on the face. Only here can accommodate him. Barely can be explained by extraordinary humans. And Peter originally's clever scientific research mind is also helpful to the scientific research institutions under the club. Who said it wasn't? Ned reached out and snatched a handful of popcorn from Peter's hands, commenting, "Look at these super criminals, what's the military going to do with them?" "That's right. Ghost Spider hail. Oh who. I guess Boss Jessica can kill these two monsters with 3 punches." 3 punches. Just 1 punch. That's it. The people on the surrounding bar raised their glasses and echoed. "Hey, come on, don't brag. Those 2 big green guys are not easy to mess with at first glance. What if the goddess is injured?" Quote. "That's right, it's better not to let the president and the others take risks." This is the more sane fan. Now the club is much more lively, and the people who come and go are all fan members. Speak less. The glass in Mary's cup, and educated them. Gwen taught me a Chinese word. Do you understand the big tree attracting the wind? Understand. Definitely don't understand. They are all members who come for leisure, so there is no one who just knows Chinese, so they are still making jokes there. Mary Jane rolled her eyes helplessly, picked up the wine glass and took a sip, and then she saw Barbara carried a suitcase and walked past her. "Barbara," Mary Jane asked strangely, "are you moving out again?" Because Barbara is having so much fun at club, she has moved into the club on the condition that she be Sky's assistant occasionally. No. Barbara waggled her fingers and flaunted a ticket in front of Mary Jane. "I'm going to Monaco." "What?" Mary Jane's eyes widened. "You are so cunning. Do you want to have a private meeting with the vice president?" She knew that Yi Li was going to Monaco too, and she signed up for the competition through her relationship channels. The key is, Yi Li is alone, Jessica and Gwen are not there. It's hard for Mary Jane not to suspect Barbara's motives. Barbara insisted, "I can't go to play by myself. I won't tell you, I don't want to catch the plane." She definitely got the news and wanted to seize this opportunity to be alone and investigate Yi Li. But how is it possible to admit it to Mary Jane? HMPH, hum. Barbara pretended to be humming a ditty, then went out and strode east, which was the direction of the international airport. "Tony, Lee, my private plane is about to take off. Are you going to Monaco by yourself?" "I'll go by myself. You don't have to wait for me. I still have something to deal with." Tony, "Okay, Monaco, see you soon." Yi Li ended the call with Tony, looked at the researcher who was playing with Banner's blood and asked, "How is it?" The researcher shook his head. "To be honest, there won't be any progress for the time being, boss." "Then store it first." "Yes. Rent. Yi Li was relaxed and didn't bring any luggage. He went out and hailed a taxi and headed to the airport. Quote, "What?" Arrived at the airport, he saw Barbara smiling and waving. "What's your situation?" While scanning at the security checkpoint, Yi Li said strangely to Barbara who was waiting in front, "I don't order escort services." "Hey, Vice President, it's too rude of you to say that." Barbara clasped her hands in front of her legs, bent slightly, with a lively smile on her face. "Aren't you happy to have a beauty like me accompany you on the road?" "Huh. She's beautiful, sir." The young lady in charge of the security check also smiled and gave the pair, the future lover she thought was obsessed with assists. "Well, it's your freedom to go where you want to go." After Yi Li finished the security check, he left a word to the SHIELD agent, and boarded the plane on his own. Just before entering the box, Barbara leaned against the door frame next door, and blinked at him happily. "What a coincidence, I'm right next to you, maybe you can come to talk to me, I'm very welcome." Good guy. And specially book the box next door. Yi Li still approves of Barbara's appearance. With blonde hair, blue eyes, pretty face, slender arms, long legs and fair skin, it looks like Gwen is a few years older. Not much to say about the figure. I remember that she was a national gymnast when she was a girl. The body is perfectly exercised, and the waist and limbs are very experienced at first glance. But Barbara as an agent. Her approach must have an ulterior motive. Naturally, Yi Li couldn't let her succeed so easily. "I have to tidy up first and have some fun before talking." Then, he saw a flight attendant not far from the corridor, and directly beckoned her to come over. "Gentlemen." The stewardess came over with a professional and polite smile and asked, "Is there anything I need?" "Watch her." Yi Li nodded with her thumb. Barbara who was still leaning on the door frame to flirt. "Don't let her harass me, can it be done?" Barbara's face froze. The stewardess was also slightly taken aback. After looking at Barbara, she said formulaically, "Don't worry, Mr. 21, we will do our best to ensure every passenger's due rights." Then, the stewardess said softly again, in a voice she thought only Yi could hear, "If you need, I can contact the police for you." As a woman, she thinks it's normal for an attractive man like this gentleman to be sexually harassed. Barbara's eyelids twitched and she was depressed. Am I so bad? She has been trained professionally, and her hearing is better than that of ordinary people, so she naturally heard the flight attendants whispering to Yi Li. Yi Li nodded in satisfaction. This time he smiled and winked at Barbara. "Rest well, ma'am, the journey is not short." Finished. He turned around and was about to enter the box. At this time, the stewardess handed over a cup of iced tea on the tray. "Sir, this is a welcome drink." "Oh, thank you." Yi Li took it politely. "Ma'am, this is yours." The stewardess kept smiling and handed a glass to Barbara. "Call me anytime if you need anything." "Oh, well." Barbara looked a little discouraged and took the glass. Leaf. A surprise call. Strange was holding a cup, walking towards this side excitedly. "I didn't expect to meet you here." "What a coincidence." Barbara couldn't help raising her eyes. She seemed to be saying that just now. "Stephen." Yi Li laughed uncontrollably. "Aha, what a coincidence. Come on, cheers." As he spoke, he handed out the cup and touched Strange. Strange drank the remaining iced tea, put it back on the flight attendant's tray, and asked Yi Li, "Where are you going?" "This is the flight to Monaco." Yi Li smacked his lips. "Tisk, racing car. Me too." Strange invited, "Why don't you come and sit with me, for a while?" Talking. He glanced at Barbara over here, and whispered, "Do you know her?" Yi Li also glanced at Barbara, and saw that her eyes were a little bitter, but she couldn't be too unfeeling. I know. Good eyesight." Strange patted him on the shoulder. "Okay, let's get up." Yi Li also put the unfinished iced tea back on the tray, beckoning to Barbara, "Follow me if you want to come." Overjoyed, Barbara stepped forward and hugged his arm. After the three left, the flight attendant left alone was puzzled. Didn't she just say that she didn't want to be harassed? Why did she hug her again? It is estimated that the young lovers are having trouble. Closing square bracket. Alas, no chance for a romantic encounter. The flight attendant who thought Yi Li was alone was disappointed and left. "Thanks." Barbara squeezed Yi Li's arms tightly, and said lively and slyly, "This is a reward." She is very satisfied with Yi Li's appearance and talent, and she doesn't mind giving him some benefits when performing tasks. "Yi Li, thank you for what?" "Thank you for saving me face." Barbara smiled brightly, showed her white teeth a little, and praised, "You are very personable." "Yeah." Yi Li rubbed her small waist, and she could feel the smooth and elastic skin through the soft fabric. "Speaking of which, you have been at the club for a long time and have helped Sky a lot. I haven't talked to you much yet." Quote, "The vice president is too busy." Barbara took the opportunity to say, "Why don't you go to my box to chat later? Or I can go to your box." Arrive. At this time, Stephen in front opened the door of his box, turned his head and smiled at Yi Li and the two. "It's not too far from your place, isn't it?" After the three sat in, Steve chatted with Yi Li, mostly about racing and socializing. Barbara echoes a few words from time to time, and occasionally sends some benefits to Yi Li's restless hands. Yi Li also thinks she feels great in the hand and is a kind of enjoyment. He likes to sit next to him when he chats, which is why he asked Barbara to come over. This is a hobby, not necessarily what you want to do, just like some people like to play with pressed walnuts. Tony Stark," Stephen said to Stark, "is he going to play too? It's a rich man's game, isn't it?" Yi Li, "But he asked me to keep it a secret for him, don't tell Miss Pepper." Stephen, "When the time comes, don't let it slip. Do not worry." Strange, "You know, I don't like talking to people I don't know well." "And you, Barbara," Yi Li told Barbara, "don't move, cough, don't talk nonsense." With a ruddy complexion, Barbara nodded and agreed, I got it. But not here." "What?" Stephen's eyes were strange, and he could see that the two people on the opposite side, something was wrong. According to his medical knowledge, this beautiful lady, capillary congestion, slight shortness of breath, subcutaneous muscle tremors. Yi, are you so good at playing now? Yi Li held up his hands. I think I can explain, Steven. Boom. It's getting late, yay. I wish you all a nice night. In the end, the two were still sent out by Steven. Where to go next? Barbara brushed her lower body with her palm, smoothed my white skirt, and regained her smile from the embarrassment of being sent out. Want to play with me? Didn't the girl hear Steven say that it's getting late? What can I do when it's almost night? Though I think so. But after Yi Li hesitated for a moment, he still said, maybe this is a good idea. Sex, the interest has been aroused, why don't you go and have a look? Although he didn't think Barbara would dedicate her life to her career, judging from her performance just now, a certain degree of fun is still possible. With good guidance, Shield may be able to lose his wife and lose his army. Gnaw the hard bone of a female agent. It's an interesting challenge too. In Barbara's box. Vice. Barbara screamed tenderly. Yi Li corrected, Li. From. After getting closer to Yi Li, Barbara said happily, I don't think you have any luggage with you. Did you forget it? I can lend you mine. What do you want to lend me? Yi Li sensed that she seemed to have some intentions. First-class cabins are fully equipped, including toothbrushes and towels. What can I borrow? Wait a minute. Barbara smiled mysteriously, reached into her suitcase, and took out something. She still remembers the last time she asked Sky about Yi Li's hobbies, painting beauties, fighting technique, and doing mouth cleaning, etc. After investigation later, these are all traceable. Credibility is high. Fighting technique cannot be used in the small box of the plane. Then it can only be. Dang 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 dang. Barbara pulled out the drawing tools and paper, and handed them to Yi Li, sapless. Surprise. Yi Li's fish eyes were dead, and there was no reaction on his face. I'm all out to play. Still want me to work. Too vicious. Hey, why are you unhappy? Barbara took off her coat and hung it on the hanger, then lay on her side on the cushion of the box, posing in a dazzling pose. Don't be dazed, come on. Open tortoise shell bracket. What do you want? Close tortoise shell bracket. Yi Li was too lazy to think about it, and decided to fight poison with fire directly, and stretched out his hand to untie his belt, deliberately teasing her. Okay, I'll be right away. Huh, Barbara quickly stopped him. What are you doing? Didn't you say come? No. Barbara gathered up her clothes pretending to be scared, and said carefully, I heard you like to draw beautiful women, that's what I mean. As she spoke, she pointed to the painting utensils in front of Yi Li. Can't you see it? Open tortoise shell bracket hee, close tortoise shell bracket. Wear so tight. Return. Want to whore my paintings for nothing. Yi Li replied righteously, not interested. Ah. Barbara froze for a moment. But seeing Yi Li keep scanning the key parts of her body, she quickly understood the meaning. Then, Barbara rummaged through the suitcase again, found two exquisite pure white stockings, and put them on for herself. After a few seconds, how about it? She straightened her slender legs wrapped in white silk, and asked confidently, isn't it pretty? Small sample. I still can't beat you to death. Barbara was enjoying herself. Yi Li tilted his head and looked at her with a paintbrush, then said blankly, I wear too much, take it off. Barbara, I only have so much. If you take it off again, it will be gone. She was confused for a while. At last, still gritted my teeth. Snow White ketone body display. At the same time, Barbara shouted in her heart, Hill. For the task, I sacrificed too much, get promoted and raise my salary. It's done. Yi Li handed several portraits to Barbara. That's right, several pictures, various poses. Miss Security is right, you are beautiful, Barbara, quote. Ah, someone now has a spoiled expression. Hearing Yi Li's praise, he came back to his senses. She took over these few paintings that she sacrificed a lot. After just a few glances, I was hooked. Such a beautiful painting. She can't bear to destroy. But if I add a few strokes myself, that's ruined too. Then, Barbara begged pitifully, can you change it? Don't be so revealing, please. Don't worry about this. See her seductive posture close at hand. Yi Li took the opportunity to hold her in his arms. Start the siege. After a while, apart from defending the last line of defense, Barbara has already been killed to the point of disarming herself. Woo, the beauty sobbed. Seeing myself in this embarrassing state now. I have the heart to want to die. Open tortoise shell bracket. Why did you just give so much to this man? If only for the task. Impossible to do this step. What Barbara doesn't know is that under the influence of Yi Li's charm and strong offensive, she actually has a crush on him. After all, agents can also fall in love. It's just that she didn't realize it, and she used, for the mission, as a psychological comfort, but in fact, there was no need to do these things. Open tortoise shell bracket. Never mind. It's all come to this point. Open tortoise shell bracket. Do my best. Close tortoise shell bracket. Barbara remembered Yi Li's more private hobby, and put her delicate face close to his face and whispered for a while. Yi Li nodded with satisfaction. Yes, but I have to try your business level first. On the glass porthole of the box. Two faint figures, bowing their heads close. Then, kissed together. After the test, Barbara went about her business rustically. If we only talk about the level of this business. Yi Li commented like this. 1. Gwen. 2. Felicia. 3. Sky. 4. Jessica. There is not much difference, each has its own skills. He made this ranking based on his experience in small details. And Cindy hasn't expanded the business yet. Kate Mara didn't count. As for Barbara, needs a lot of practice. Your order for dinner and wine, ma'am. Yi Li heard the voice outside the box. Super Spider telepathy flashed some pictures. Whoosh, shiki shiki. The induction is like turning pages in animation. After confirming that there is only one stewardess outside and no camera is facing the door, he unlocked the door with his imperial ability, and said, "Send it in, the door is unlocked." Unlocked? Huh, why is it a man's voice? Isn't the lady who booked this box? The stewardess tried to open the door, and then let out a small exclamation, "Yeah. I heard someone come in." Barbara brushed up her blonde hair, showing a dazed and charming face, and looked towards the door. After finding out that she was a flight attendant, she didn't care. It's this kind of thing again. But this woman is so beautiful. The flight attendant settled down and put the dinner on the table in front of Yi Li. "You, please take it easy." "Thank you." Yi Li smiled. "When you go out, please close the door." "Okay." The flight attendant left with some weak footsteps. Hoo-ha. Barbara finally got over her impulsiveness, a little dazed. She looked out the porthole. It was already full of stars, the bright moon was hanging high, and the clouds and mist were shrouded in mist. With the flight of the passenger plane, she passed by quickly. Look at Yi Li. I found him leisurely swiping his phone, and there was dynamic music coming out of it, which seemed to be some kind of dance video. Hey, you enjoyed it too. Barbara sat next to him, and after seeing clearly the dancing girls on the phone screen, she was annoyed. You're looking at other women. Okay, don't be angry. Yi Li pulled the beauty over, and covered her with a quilt. It's a beautiful day, and I'm having dinner. Liang. To what? Barbara also knows some Chinese, but doesn't quite understand the word. After looking at the food in front of me, it is delicious in color, fragrance and taste. But she frowned slightly. It's all your fault. I don't have the appetite to eat now. Yi Li cut a piece of lamb chops and stuffed it into his mouth. You are the one who posted it. Barbara saw that he was so good and behaved. She said angrily, the night sky is bright, candlelight dinner, and my big beauty is by your side, allowing a guy like you to enjoy this kind of service. It's really cheap for you. You're still the first woman I've ever met who claims to be beautiful. But self-confidence is a good thing. Yi Li handed her the wine at hand. Come on, taste it first, it will be much better if the taste is covered. I am very experienced in helping cute girls with this. Gulu gulu. After Barbara drank the red wine suspiciously, she suddenly realized, you don't want to get me drunk to do bad things, do you? Almost hit the chain suit. Fortunately, the quality of the agent made her react, otherwise today would be all over the place. Although a lot of bad things have been done, but at least she is still a girl, not a woman. This is the last bottom line she sticks to. Hurry up and eat. Yi Li smiled softly, stretched out her hand, and wiped a drop of red wine on her mouth with her thumb. I'll be in Monaco as soon as awakening comes, go to bed early. Ah, Barbara shrunk her neck subconsciously, blushing from his sudden tenderness. You're such a bad man. After a few hours, tuk tuk. Strange knocked on Yi Li's door twice. Yi, I'm about to get off the plane, I think you'd better not sleep. Click. The door to the side room opened. With a toothbrush in his mouth and a lot of foam, Yehu said, "Good morning, Stephen." Strange was slightly taken aback, but he wasn't too surprised, and smiled knowingly. "It's not the morning for massage Nago, is it, because Ms. Barbara has made you unconscious?" If anyone was going to be delirious, it would be her. As Yi Li said, he yelled inside, "Barbara, are you ready? We're about to get off the plane. I've been ready a long time ago, and I'll be waiting for you." Barbara opened the door, pulled the suitcase and walked out. "I'll get off the plane first, and I'll wait for you below." Strange looked at her going back and said in surprise, "Oh, she and yesterday are like two people." Yesterday Barbara was in a more mature look, but today she put on a pair of gold ponytails and dressed up in a youthful and lively sports and leisure outfit. Women are always changeable, aren't they? After Yi Li washed up, he smiled and said, "Let's go west." Ha. Barbara rested her white arms on the trolley of the suitcase, and rested her chin on her arm, humming a tune. She was leaning on the trolley, her waist was bent at about 30 degrees, and her posture was very bright. The exquisite facial features and beautiful shape attracted many people who were in a hurry to look back a few more times. Soon, Yi Li and Strange also got off the plane, ready to go on the road with Barbara. The combination of the appearance and temperament of the three of them became the focus of attention at the airport for a while. Yi Li looked a little uncomfortable, and asked the two people around him, "Do you have any biography?" Barbara held him by her little hand, "I want to sit on your seat." Strange nodded, "Mine is already waiting. Do you want to go to Stark now?" "No hurry, just play for a while." Yi Li turned on the phone and searched, "I remember there is a casino in Monaco." Barbara raised her eyebrows slightly, "You want to bet?" She thought of the vice president, the legendary who bet on the invincible players in the club. "Monte Carlo Casino. Help me luck." Stark held the hand of the dice and handed it to a girl. The girl blew a sensible breath. "Okay, not bad. I hope you can bring me good luck." When Tony was about to throw out the "good luck" in his hand, a loud noise suddenly sounded from a table next to him, making him stop. "I thought this casino would be of good quality." The girl next to him said in French, "It's the new Duduju, he won almost all the casinos." Duduju, god of games. It's the god of gamblers, Mr. Stark. "Okay, let me meet this god of gamblers." Tony was very interested and looked over there carefully. But after seeing clearly, his eyes glared. "Isn't this Lee?" "Hey, Lee, you're here without saying a word." Tony tossed the dice casually, and walked towards Yi Li. "Don't tell me, are you trying to give me a surprise?" "Although it's a coincidence, I'm not surprised you're here," Yi Li said, looking at the dice thrown by Tony. "Your luck is very bad, you should be more careful these days, Tony." 2 dice, 2. It really couldn't be worse. Instead of looking at the dice, Tony thought of his own palladium poisoning, but said nonchalantly, "But it's time to have fun, isn't it?" He looked at the pile of chips in Barbara's arms. "It looks like you won a lot." Yi Li modestly compared her index finger and thumb, a little bit. Then he introduced Strange and Barbara to Tony. "Stephen Strange, a genius in surgery. If you want to remove shrapnel from your chest, you may want to seek his advice." Strange nodded slightly towards Stark. "You are Yi's friend. If necessary, I will try my best." "Thanks, buddy, I've heard about you." Tony and Strange exchanged business cards. "Maybe I'll find you later, maybe." He didn't say any more. If the problem of the palladium element is not resolved, it doesn't matter to him whether to take the shrapnel or not. Because of those tiny shrapnel fragments, it is really difficult to remove them through surgery. The risk of surgery is too great. If you die, you will lose everything. It's better to rely on the reactor to absorb the debris, and to be an Iron Man for a period of time. It is considered dead without regret, Tony thought. Yi Li then introduced him to Barbara. Barbara Moores, a former gymnast for the national team, now works for the Ghost Spider Club. Air should be a job. He wasn't sure if Barbara was doing business at the club. From what Sky and the others said, she spent most of her time playing. "It works," Barbara affirmed Yi Li's interrogative sentence, and then with a formulaic smile on her face, she nodded to Stark. "Hello, Mr. Stark." "She's not bad. No less than Natasha Romanoff." Quote. Tony approached Yi Li and whispered, I thought your stunning beauties would only be limited to high school students, those who are no older than 18. Bringing this up again, for Tony's teasing. Yi Li retorted helplessly, I have to remind you that Gwen and the others are about to graduate, which has exceeded the scope you said. Then what? Tony thought this was a weak refutation, shrugged and said, your hunting target has changed from high school students to college students. Quote. Yi Li was too lazy to talk to him, pointed to the poker on the table, changed the subject and said, come on Tony, you are more familiar with this than I am, teach me how to play. What, aren't you the god of gamblers, you still need me to teach you? Tony taught Yi Li suspiciously, and then found that, he really doesn't seem to know. But when Yi Li gambles, he is always lucky enough to win a lot of money. Li, if I didn't know that you don't need it, Tony said with a speechless expression, I'm going to suspect that you're cheating. Yi Li couldn't deny it. He doesn't even need imperial ability, he can kill all directions with super spider telepathy. Passive ability is not considered cheating. Won quite a fortune from the casino. Yi Li didn't continue either. Gambling is something that can be enjoyed once in a while, but it's fine to rely on it to continue to make money. After all, money is such a thing. I am too lazy to do it myself. At his current level, it was the money that came to him, not him to the money. Time flies. The game is about to start. Tony took the lead and led Yi Li and the others to the front screen banquet. Yi Li saw Natasha Romanoff. Barbara saw her too. Two gods. The S.H.I.E.L.D. agents exchanged glances. Natasha Romanoff stepped forward first and started talking to Barbara, acting like she hit it off. Looking at my new assistant, I just chatted with Yi Li's female partner. Tony laughed at Yi Li. Compared to us, the two of them seemed to be more willing to stay together. At this time, a photographer came to the two with a video camera. Gentlemen, can I take a picture? Tony. No problem. Maybe there is a common topic. Quote. Yi Li smiled decently at the camera, and chatted with Tony. They went over there, and you still have Miss Pepper. I don't have any female companions anymore. If you need a female companion, how about me, Yi? A confident female voice came. Christina came over with a glass of wine, and greeted Stark, hello, Mr. Stark. Tony felt that this girl looked familiar, and asked Yi Li in a low voice, is she? I can't remember. Vanity Fair magazine reporter, the one who interviewed you personally. After answering Tony, Yi Li smiled politely at Christina, hi, Miss Christine, we meet again here. Christina smiled and showed her neat white teeth, it's nice to see you again, but I'm a reporter for Vanity Fair now. Yi Li glanced at her a few times. I don't know if it's because his eyesight is higher again. Compared with the last time we met, although this female reporter is still in the category of beauty, her appearance seems to have deteriorated by half. It is said that the beauty of Europeans and Americans declines quickly with age. But fortunately, there is no need to worry about Gwen and the others. Gwen, Jessica, Sky, Felicia, Cindy. They are not ordinary constitution. And Yi Li also has an enhanced version of the dog spell. Enhanced dog charm ability, immortality, eternal youth. This life force can be given and shared with others. That's right, it is, her person. Specifically how this power is given. It's hard to elaborate. Like Barbara, when she is fooled into breaking away from S.H.I.E.L.D. and turning to the light, he will consider giving her the power of immortality. Moreover, Yi Li is the sole owner of the enhanced version of the 12 talismans, and the various powers that are released can be taken back at any time. Tony, is that you? Yi Li's thoughts flashed. Another person came over with a goblet. It's Justin Hammer. He was all smiles trying to hook up with Stark. Conversation room. Justin Hammer's attitude towards Yi Li is also considered polite, and occasionally he pretends to say a few words. But his Wang's eyes hide disdain. In his opinion, what power could a painter have? Not worthy to stand with himself, and with Stark. Yi Li didn't want to pay attention to this jumping beam joker. His super spider telepathy noticed this guy's thoughts. Seeing Justin intervening, Christina took the opportunity to pull Yi Li up and said, Mr. Hammer wants to talk to Mr. Stark, why don't we go over there and talk? Wait, Chris. Justin Hammer grabbed Christina and said with displeasure, didn't you want to give me an exclusive interview? Let's talk later, Mr. Hammer. Christina withdrew her hand tactfully, you talk to Mr. Stark first. watching Christina and Yi Li walk away. Justin Hammer is vomiting blood. He was trying to catch Stark's popularity. There is no record of interviews with well-known journalists. And what a fart chat with the Stark dude. Here. Because it was fun to see Justin Hammer's blue face, Yi Li pulled Christina for a while. Just didn't expect. Christina directly pulled him to the corner of a passage where not many people passed by, and pressed him into the corner of the wall. Yi. Christina leaned forward, her high-heeled feet curled up and entangled his feet. After that day, why didn't you call me? Feel the soft body bundles. Yi Li couldn't help but secretly sighed. It's also a fault to be handsome. Beauty, for the sake of the Joker that you just got angry with Hammer, I advise you to let go right away. What is in his heart? Christina naturally couldn't hear it. She buried her head in the neckline of his neck, wanting to give him a soft and moist touch, and her palms were getting closer and closer to the taboo. But, just when Christina's lips and hands were about to reach their goal, a white palm suddenly grabbed her wrist, stopping her movement. The lady. After Barbara completed the achievement of beauty saves the embryo, she pulled Christina away and said with a chuckle, "This is not polite to a gentleman." Who is she? Christina could feel the strength contained in Barbara's well-proportioned arms, and it was not something she could resist. She guessed, "Your bodyguard." Bodyguard. Barbara rolled her eyes and made up her mind. She turned around lightly, moved in front of Yi Li, and said with a light smile, "That's right. I'm Li's personal bodyguard." Christina confirmed to Yi Li, "Really?" Yi Li blinked, "Really?" "Yes." Barbara kept smiling, and quietly took Yi Li's palm with her small hand behind her back, and put it on her puffy place. A certain person enjoyed kneading his hands, and there was a smile on his face. "Ah yes. Barbara is my personal bodyguard, very close-fitting." "That's it." Christina looked at Barbara's beauty, and soon heard that there was something in Yi Li's words. But she felt that she still had a chance, and suggested to Barbara, "Then we can be together, Miss Barbara, there is no need to do this." Barbara. Don't shake Billion. See you next time, Nanwang. Barbara took Yi Li and left, leaving Christina who didn't know herself. Hey, you guys. It is not easy for the female reporter to catch up regardless of her image. This time it failed again. I can only walk away in despair. Here, swish. Barbara took Christina's place, cuddled in Yi Li's arms, and did what she hadn't had time to do. Yi Li was naturally very happy, and then took Barbara to the room where she was temporarily staying. Barbara's room. Don't. Barbara is still wriggling, shaking her little head, trying to escape someone's clutches. She just informed Natasha Romanoff to come to the room to contact, if this happens to happen. But, Yi Li doesn't care about this, presses her hair, let the attractive red lips approach slowly. Ever since, when Natasha Romanoff came to discuss intelligence with colleagues, she was shocked by Yi Li and Barbara. Woohoo, Natasha Romanoff, you're here. Barbara pushed Yi Li away in embarrassment, and said goodbye to him. Let's go here. I'll go out with Natasha Romanoff for a while. Banquet hall, balcony decorated with crystals. Two beautiful figures, put their arms on the marble fence and leaned against each other, gold and reddish-brown long hair, occasionally staggered by the breeze. Barbara. After being silent for a while, Natasha Romanoff broke the silence and said, that's how inquired about the news. Ahem. Barbara was still a little uncomfortable, coughed a few times, and said in embarrassment, didn't you say that beauty is also a means? But, it's not, that's how it's used. Natasha Romanoff didn't know how to say, to do this for a mission, you're losing money. She remembered that Barbara was an excellent agent. How can't she figure it out? I don't know either. Barbara looked at the racetrack. I just didn't feel disgusted. I just did it. If there were no one else, only him. There is something wrong with you. Natasha Romanoff, a bystander, knew that Barbara was not doing a mission at all. But she didn't want to worry about, not her own mission, so she didn't say it. Woo, woo, woo. Natasha Romanoff looked at the track. Beep started. Barbara saw Yi Li changed into a handsome racing suit and got into the car in front of Strange. Also saw Ms. Pepper running like hell to stop Mr. Stark from racing. Tony started the engine. Ready, guys. Yi Li smiled mysteriously and was ready. A mouse-shaped charm appeared in his hand, which was printed on the inner wall of the racing car. Strange glanced at his green racing car, looked at Yi Li and said, Yi, I like your red car better, how about we change it? Climb. 3, 2, 1, whoosh, whoosh 1, whoosh. The three of Yi Li rushed into the track together with other cars, and drove a long distance in the blink of an eye. Dash. Maybe I won't be the champion. But I will definitely be faster than you. Stark yelled at Yi Li and Strange in the communication channel, and then speeded up and overtook the front, haha. Yi Li. Yes Tony, you are the fastest man. Strange. Doctor suggested, because it is not a good thing. Shut up, you two poor-mouthed guys. Seeing that Strange was following him and Yi Li was still behind, Tony teased him, Li, do we need us to wait for you? Open tortoise shell bracket alas. I wanted to get along with you as a common person, close tortoise shell bracket. Yi Li patted the racing car under his seat, come on, it's time for you to perform. Wooin, CBEF. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. Comma comma exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. Red's number 7 car suddenly accelerated. The narrator exclaimed. It passed the number 8 car, number 3 car. Number 6 car, number 1 car. Now it's third, oh no, second. The corner of Yi Li's mouth curled up, and another charm with rabbit pattern appeared in his hand, and he pressed it on the inner wall of the racing car. Definitely, he won't use more than normal speed, but just a little is enough. Wooin, my god, it surpassed the number 11 car of Desperate Driver, Savito who leads the first place. This angle, how did this player do it? It's too dangerous. My god, did he die? It turns out that the car can still be driven like this. Oh, I feel like I usually drive toy cars. I sell cakes. He's so cool. There was an uproar in the auditorium. Cheers, screams, constantly rang out one after another. Woo, come on. Number 7. Which player is the number 7 car? Which racing club is it? I'm going to sign him. It's the Ghost Spider Club. Find out so quickly. Well done. Oh no, he drove this string of letters on the track. What? Hey, Lee, are you crazy? Driving like this? Tony yelled in the communication. Professional players dare not drive like this. Slow down for me. This guy is terminally ill. Tony secretly felt that he was poisoned by the palladium element and did not dare to play like this. Why was Lee suddenly stimulated? Strange also had the same idea, and persuaded in the communication, hey. Yi, calm down. If you have any disease that cannot be cured, I can introduce you to the best doctor in the world, a psychiatrist is also available, okay. Car number 7, hey, isn't that? Barbara pinched the railing subconsciously, he. Alas, Natasha Romanoff looked at the worry on her face and shook her head. Strange, could it be a brain disease? Stark, I think it might be as. Tony, believe it or not, I'll turn around and fly out for you. Yi Li listened silently to the brain supplements of the two bad friends, and left a sentence for them, I will wait for you at the end. After that, the communication was cut off, and the endpoint was taken directly. Hey, who is that man? Mechanics don't go on the track. Ivan Vanke, with a toothpick in his mouth, ignored the passing cars and the sound of warnings, and came to the middle of the track. The electric spark ignited his clothes, revealing the morning whip suit activated inside, and a pair of white and blue electric whips were dragged on the ground by him. On Yi Li's side, he is freeing his hands. Suddenly, the super spider telepathy flashed, playing a scene where Steven's car was torn off with a whip. Steven is going to be whipped. Yi Li subconsciously covered the entire track with the Chicken Charm's Imperial Object ability, and wanted to get this bad friend. Suddenly, it occurred to Strange that it seemed that Strange became the supreme mage because of a car accident. Is it this time? But he hadn't finished thinking about it. The world started to turn upside down, and the surrounding track curved in an unreasonable shape, just like the scenes that only appear in surrealist paintings. Stop. Yi Li said something about the car. Twilight. There was a sound of skidding, and the car stopped. The door opens. No, the black windbreaker came out first. Yi Li was wearing a black combat uniform, with his hands in the windbreaker pockets, leaning against the car door, looking around calmly. The distorted and changing world is already deserted and silent, and the auditorium hanging upside down in the sky is empty. Ancient One, hush. As Yi Li called out a name, the figure in yellow robe gently landed not far in front of him. Hello, Lee. Ancient One preached in a clear voice. Strange is a conceited child, and he still needs to be sharpened. Mage. Yi Li threw a charm with the pattern of double tigers in his hand. Isn't it good to be so close when we first meet? Ancient One knew that this mirrored space could entrap Yi Li, so he spit out a word out of question, thank you. Forget about that guy Steven. Yi Li put on the hood of the windbreaker as he said, look at what we are doing now, does it look like a couple's outfit? Ancient One evoked a peaceful smile and was not angry, funny boy, we will see you again. Okay, see you next time then. Dear Ancient One Mage. Quote. The double tiger pattern of the charm in Yi Li's hand began to rotate. I don't know what happened to Steven, I have to go and see him. The tiger talisman is 1 point per turn. The deviated world is brought back on track a little bit. Enhanced tiger talisman, anchoring the polarities of yin and yang. To be precise, the tiger talisman can control the power of yin and yang, and it can achieve many effects, and this is just one of them. The mirrored space was quickly reduced to fragments, and a red racing car drove out again while the space was shattered. Woo! Dash exclamation mark. Hi, Pepper. Here, Pepper and Happy were about to deliver gear to Stark when a red race car pulled up next to them. Pepper. Lee, shouldn't you be in front? Yi Li spread his hands in the car. You guessed it right, I led 2 laps. Lee, help me, knock him away. Tony, who was being chased by Ivan Vanki, saw Yi Li rushing towards him in a racing car, and hurriedly called for help. Hey, Tony. When Yi Li drove past Stark, he threw the steel battle suit briefcase in the past. Miss Pepper gave it to you. Go on, call, touch. Profound. Tony let out a scream. This briefcase hit him dizzily. It's good that he wasn't sent away directly. The racing doesn't stop. Straight into Ivan Wonk. Ivan Wonk raised his whip and was about to repeat the trick. But the red racing car accelerated again suddenly, leaving Sang Whip Ivan Vanki in no time to react. Boom, boom, the Sorrow Whip was struck directly on the fence of the runway, making a muffled sound. Oh, sorry, I did not do it on purpose. The gas pedal was pushed too far. Quote. Yi Li looked at Ivan Wonk who was hiccuping, and complained, I don't think it's my fault, you should install 2 pieces of armor for yourself. As far as Ivan Vanki's nearly unprotected whip equipment, a small pistol can probably handle him. Lee, get out of the way. He's not dead yet, I'll deal with him. Tony, who was smashed by Yi Li, stumbled into the portable Mark suit anyway. He is walking this way, the next step seems to be about to fall. Yi Li lifted the car's spiritual enlightenment, opened the car door and walked a little further, folded his arms and said, Tony, you can do it like this. There are not a few people who watch theater like him. Spectators ran outside the fence to watch the impending battle up close. Because they also discovered, although Ivan Vanki's electric whip is strong and can split the vehicle with 1 whip, but there is nothing outstanding other than that. Just keep out of range of the whip and run fast, a rifle could kill him. You're ashamed to say, it's not your fault. Exclamation mark. Just as Tony was about to say something, the red racing car was blown away by a whip from the revived Ivan Wonk. See-ta Graham. Ivan Wonk roared and rushed towards Stark. 1 whip. 2 whips, 3 whips, 4 whips. Lightning, 5 consecutive whips. Iron Man with a dizzy head. At the moment, who is the opponent of the whip? Stark was so pumped that he couldn't take care of himself, and the steel battle suit was full of sparks. Yi Li called out at the right time, can you do it, Tony? Tony was so angry that he punched Ivan Vanki on the forehead. The portable Mark battle suit is not so powerful. Jump. Ivan Vanki, who had 0 defense, was directly affected by the same stun debuff as Tony. Tony took the opportunity to pop out a ray sleeve blade on the forearm of the battle suit, which was the imitation lightsaber module he loaded into his battle suit. Glowing weapons, you're not the only one with. Caw caw caw. With a few strikes from the energy light blade, Ivan Wonk's morning whip suit was dismantled and scattered all over the place. Stark couldn't hold on any longer and fell down. What? Why can't you hold on to him? The head of the steel battle suit opens, revealing Stark's horny head. Oh, this gangster is too cruel. Yi Li looked at the wound and shook his head. Look at Tony, this head is bleeding. Hey. Pepper, who came over, asked Tony worriedly, are you injured? Well, Tony stretched out his hand tremblingly, pointing at Yi Li with his index finger, trying to say something. Don't worry, Tony, I know what you mean. Yi Li nodded and gave him a thumbs up. I will also go to see Steven, don't worry. Tony tilted his head and passed out with anger. Did-do, did-do, did-do. With the sound of an ambulance coming. Both Stark and Strange were carried on a stretcher and taken to the hospital. Time has changed. Hospital. Yi Li took a fruit knife and peeled an apple. The bed on the left is Stark, the bed on the right is Strange. Arranged in a ward, it is good to have a companion. Stark only had a mild concussion and was resting for a while. However, his palladium poisoning was detected, and he was scolded by Pepper not long ago. And Strange is even worse, little Zuo and Xiaoyu are abolished. Now he has a mournful face, full of remorse, and at the same time curses at the whip, that guy. I'm going to sue the court. Put him in jail for the rest of his life. Tony originally wanted to be Yi Li who cheated people, but he saw how miserable Steven was, so he changed what he didn't say into words to comfort Steven. No comparison, no harm, no. You want to open it up. Yi Li handed the peeled apple to the two of them. Do you want to eat it? Get out. Two voices of grief and indignation. Where's the nurse? Nurse. Get this man out. Caw. Yi Li bit an apple, listening to the condolences sent one after another. Oh, don't get me wrong, it's not a condolence to Stark and Strange, but... Jessica. Big brother. I saw the news. Gwen. Lee, there was a terrorist attack at the Monaco F1 Grand Prix, are you alright? Felicia. Master, want me to take care of you. Sky. I checked, the attacker is called Ivan Vanki, he. Cindy. I saw you make letters on the track. That's cool. Wait. Seeing Yi Li sitting next to him gnawing on an apple, the voice of Yingsheng and Yanyu kept coming out of the phone. Tony was so angry that he wanted to grab the apple in his hand. Is there any mistake? We are the ones who got hurt. Give it to me. Give it to me. Don't worry, Tony, you eat this. Yi Li stuffed a banana into his mouth. Hey, you at least peel a skin. Stark spat out a banana. I'm a patient, can you be gentle? Don't say such, Tony. Talking. Yi Li saw that Steven on the right bed stopped talking, and handed him a parchment map. Don't be downcast, Steven, a lady gave me this. Miss. Stark always finds a sweet spot, interjecting, so while we were hurt, you met another beauty. I hope it will be Yi Li, but she asked me to hand it over to Steven. What's this? Steven arched his mouth, trying to unfold the map, but after trying, he found that it couldn't work, and shouted, Guard. Come on, I'll help you. Yi Li stretched out his hand to help him unfold. On the map, a location in Nepal was circled. Steven wondered, what does that mean? He hasn't gone around to seek medical treatment for his hands yet, so he is not particularly desperate. Magic, Steven, Yi Li warned, when you can't get through the road, you can try it. But remember not to bother me when the time comes, you can find the way yourself. Strange. He was even more confused. Hey Lee, I have something for you too. Don't ask too much, just accept it. Tony took out 2 pieces of paper and handed them to Yi Li. The other one is handed over to Black Spider for me. They say you have contact with him. Yi Li took the 2 pieces of paper and saw clearly the string of zeros on them. Wow, 2 checks, it seems that Mr. Stark wants to share some inheritance with me. Okay, I didn't want to care about it. But you are too dawdling, I can't stand it. Yi Li put away the 2 checks and said, listen to me, don't interrupt. The new element that can solve your palladium poisoning is in the city model left by your father. Don't ask me how I know. You can go to S.H.I.E.L.D. for the information. It's all about a sentence or 2. Seeing how miserable these 2 bad friends were, he simply said it directly. New element. The more Tony heard it, the more shocked he became, and he still couldn't help asking Yi Li, how did you know that? Not to ask, don't ask. Yi Li casually said, Cindy's spider telepathy is very strong, and occasionally she can predict some future episodes. Cobweb. Cindy Moon. Tony wrote another check and stuffed it to him on the spot, with a serious look in his eyes, pass this to that girl. Be sure to thank her for me. Leave the ward. Yi Li looked at the 3 extra checks in his pocket and remained silent. It's really money chasing and running. After a while. Help me. No, The women wailed and were forced into shipping containers by several gangsters. Hey, shut up. You're worth $1,000 each. Quote. A leader of Brother Knee held a bucket in his hand and threatened several women, so, shut up, I'll give you a bucket, if you don't shut up. He picked up the electric wand in the other hand and pressed the switch. The blue light on the tip of the wand flickered. The meaning of threat couldn't be more obvious. Ah, ah, the women howled again in fright, and naturally enjoyed a meal of electrotherapy. No, do not want. No, please, call it whatever you want. Brother Knee opened his hands and said arrogantly to the women lying in the cargo box, come on, scream hard, scream loudly, it's okay, no one here will care. The gang leader didn't notice. A figure in a dark red tights squatted quietly on the cargo box behind him. Ah, boom. As Matt jumped down and punched Nay on the chin, the scuffle between Daredevil and the gangsters began. Occasionally a gunshot rang out, but under the induction of Daredevil, it was all in vain. These gangsters had no power to fight back against the superhero. Far away, Yi Li sat on a cargo box, quietly watching the scuffle, without any intention of helping. Come to Hell's Kitchen and watch Gwen and the others fight crime. It's a new fun he developed recently. It feels like watching a live-action movie. But today I happened to meet Daredevil, so I stopped to watch the show for a while. And the information of the Night Spider battlesuit blocked ability, and Murdoch never found him. Matt's performance is quite satisfactory. Yi Li was bored watching, and found other fun, turned on the Chaoyang channel and looked. Yesterday news column. ... Unidentified object falling in New Mexico. According to related witnesses, it seems to be a hammer. Today's news column. ... Hammer Industries exhibited Iron Soldiers at the History Stark exhibition due to unknown reasons, in the middle of a fierce battle with Iron Man, Tony Stark. Tomorrow's news. Beep. A phone call came in. The system battle suit comes with a call connection function. Yi Li answered directly, hello. Leave. It's poor Cindy. The characteristic soft voice came from the phone. Why did you suddenly send me such a large sum of money? Do you want to support me? Yi Li. Originally, this money has nothing to do with you, but now, it has something to do with you. Cindy. Oh, that's what it means, but I don't need the money, so I'd better call it back. Yi Li. Keep it with you, it's almost the same as letting me go. Yeah, when Cindy heard Yi Li say this, she felt very sweet, and had a phone conversation with him for a while. The two sides just ended the call. Buzz. Spider telepathy. Yi Li put on his windbreaker calmly. Floated back some distance. After that, an exploding grenade fell on the spot. Boom. At the same time, the sound of artillery and machine guns pouring bullets sounded in the sky, but the target was not him. Yi Li looked up to the sky. Iron Man, Stark ran ahead, and, War Machine, Rhodes was manipulated to chase after him. There are still a few Steel Soldier robots chasing after them. The grenade just now was shot indiscriminately by a robot. Yi Li's thoughts turned, and he tore off the random shooter, and was melted into ashes with a dragon explosion. Tisk, they all came from the exhibition in Flushing to Hell's Kitchen, and almost hit me. After killing the short-sighted one, he didn't make any more moves, seeing that Daredevil noticed the movement here, and his figure disappeared into the night. Iron Man took the enemies behind him around, turned around and flew back in the direction of the exhibition. Rhodes. Tony. Good news. Tony. Is there any good news? Your steel battlesuit is out of control. I don't think so, otherwise you wouldn't be chasing me now. Rhodes squinted. Yes, I am still chasing you to teach you a lesson, but a steel soldier suddenly fell down. Tony disdainfully said, hey, with Hammer's equipment level, I will not be surprised that the robot made by Ivan Vanki will break down. Rhodes. No, it seems to be ripped off. Tony dodged a few more grenades fired by the enemy, so what are you trying to say? Rhodes. Maybe there is a superhero helping us, maybe, Ghost Spider, or Cobweb, they can do it. Tony. Come on, at this point in time, they are probably having a good time with Lee. Rhodes. Yi Li appeared again, already in a dark alley. The figure strolled out of the alley, and Black's Night Spider battlesuit faded like a tide, gathering on his wrist. This scene looks like Venom, but the battlesuit has no life, and is actually closer to nanotechnology. Yi Li turned the corner and went to the street, planning to go shopping for a while, then go home and sleep. When he passed a building with an elevator, a gunshot was heard from inside. The powerful induction made him instantly distinguish. There were shotguns, revolvers, short assault rifles. Boom, 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 da da da. As expected of the slums of New York. It's really a gun battle every day. He was walking away with emotion. The induction is suddenly aware of. A beauty dressed as a detective rushed into the building in a hurry. Question mark. Open tortoise shell bracket. What are you doing? Close tortoise shell bracket. That familiar black-haired pretty face. Yi Li recognized her good sister within a second. Amateur detectives have to go directly to the crime scene now. He stopped, turned around, and glanced at the hidden building. Don't worry about Jessica though. But better go see. Why? At this time, a girl ran into his arms in a hurry, and the 2 bottles of drinks she was holding were about to fall to the ground. Snapped. Yi Li took the drink, handed it to the girl, and at the same time looked at her. The girl looked young, 5 or 6 years younger than Jessica and the others who were about to graduate. She has a slender figure, but there are red marks and a little bruise on her delicate and beautiful face, and there are bloodstains that haven't been wiped clean on the corners of her nose and lips. It's like I just got punched. Looking at the dress, there is a black collar around the neck, and a silver face sun pendant hangs on the collar. Black lace underwear, white mesh shirt, and a green jacket. Under the shorts are white pantyhose with comic pattern. Opening square bracket ? A familiar image. Yi Li is searching for memories in his mind. The girl who took the drink said in a delicate yet slightly magnetic voice, "Sorry." "Thank you." She raised her face and looked at Yi Li, a handsome adult man, who was a little shy, and asked him cautiously, "Excuse me, did you hear the gunshot just now? It was from this building. Did you get up?" Boom. Before Yi Li could speak, another gunshot sounded from the building, so he didn't need to speak now. The gunshots made the girl tremble in fright, and she ran towards the old-fashioned building at a faster pace. Yi Li followed her unhurriedly, making her look back in fear. "What do you want to do?" "Go upstairs." Yi Li walked past the girl into the building, wanting to see where Jessica had slipped away, and chatted with the girl. "What's your name?" "Matilda." Matilda was holding the drink, her eyes were a little timid. "Woo." The silver car stopped at the entrance of the R&D department of Hanmer Industry, and Natasha Romanoff, who was driving Happy, got out of the car quickly. "Stay in the car." "I don't want to stay in the car." "Hey, what are you wearing?" Happy was surprised by Natasha Romanoff's Aegis agent costume dressed in Black Widow. Beardang, beardang, accompanied by sirens. The two broke in. Black Widow rushed across the corridor in Wushwang, and the guards were not her enemy, and fell to the ground. Harpy entangled a security guard from Hammer Industries, and started a mortal fight. Dang den 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 da. Bang bang bang. Bang bang. Profound. Ooh. The two of them were equal, and the chickens pecked at each other. In the end, it was Harpy who won the victory by relying on the stunt of biting ears. Ho! With a smile on his face, Happy panted heavily, looked at the fallen security guard and nodded. Ho, ho. Sure enough, Mr. Yi is right. You can't be bound by moves. Matilda. Yi Li finally remembered. He said, "Why does he seem to have an impression? But isn't this the Marvel world? Why are there other movie worlds messing in?" Although compared to the Marvel universe, this killer is not so cold, which is only a gunfight, can be regarded as a child's play. But Yi Li thinks this is an omen. Since Matilda can mess in, it is not surprising that there will be any weird things in the future. Matilda, big brother, how are you together? Jessica turned over the handrail of the spiral staircase and landed in front of the two of them. Jessica, be careful. After Matilda reminded Jessica, she reacted and looked at Yi Li. Big brother. Are you Jessica's big brother? You know each other. Yi Li turned her questioning gaze to Sister 5. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.